Checking that out. Any signals, anything, I'll tune around a little bit. So let's hope, yep, everything seems to be all right. Beautiful picture. Pretty cool. And we are live. And show starts in a few seconds. Hey everyone. Just going to wait for a little bit of the counter here. Okay here. This is okay here. So we are going to start a live show. Hope everybody has some fun. And yeah, a little, ow. Nothing like a cat, you know, the cat's claws in your legs. Ow. So this is Paul the cat, or DX, that wants to say hi. So yeah, it's the camera's shadow. I'd have to move the camera. It's right there. Or move the lighting. I can do something with that. So when I get up, I'll change a little something. So hey everyone, welcome to the live show. This is the Shortwave show. We are on Saturday, April the 1st, 2017. This is the new formula for the show where we're going to talk about shortwave, tune the bands and see what's on and check it out. And yeah, I will. As soon as the cat goes, I'll just move the lighting in the back of the camera. So hey everyone, welcome to the show. And we are here now, new schedule every week, but not on Saturdays every week. We are going to be on Saturday and Friday, alternating Friday, Saturday, but we're here every week now. So this is the Saturday show. Next show will be Friday, and then Saturday, and then Friday. So we're going to go like this all the time. And I'm also thinking of an idea of maybe trying to get a little more money in if I well, from time to time I'll you know, give suggestions of maybe adding a show if I get enough donations, stuff like that, to see how it goes, because now it's more urgent than ever to find other ways of getting some money in because of the crappiest AdSense revenue in ever. So hey everyone, yeah, I was early a little bit for a very simple reason, because I don't know why on this channel when I actually do live stuff, I don't know why sometimes it takes up to a minute and a half before the video starts, and it doesn't do that anywhere else on any other channel that I do live shows. So I thought, well, you know, in case it does it this time again, let's start a minute early, and it's going to give the time for the video to come up. So this is the Shortwave show. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. And we are here to entertain you and talk about radio and have a lot of fun with all of you over here. So does Paul go invisible when he holds his breath? Let's try. You want to hold your breath? I don't think he's going to cooperate for that. So hey everyone, hello PLF. I've changed the setup. I got the two chat rooms right next to each other on two different computers. Like that, I don't have to, you know, switch to the IRC program or the you know, X chat and then go back and everything. So, you know, it's going to be easier this way. So in the IRC room, hello there, SG1 East Nebraska. Nice to have you here. Radio Zip 2, hola. Scotty Tier 6, PLF, Grandly. Nice to have you here. So yeah, they are twin brothers. It's Paul on the radio show and DX on the no, Paul on the Windows show and DX on the radio show. So hello everyone, hello PLF in France. What do we have here? Well, the Radio Zip 2 I have, the official chat, we used to be on the IRC, and the official chat was there, but now that we're on YouTube Live, there's the chat on YouTube Live. So if you have a Gmail account, you can simply join in the regular chat. So, but I look at both chat rooms, but there's more people in the YouTube chat room than on the IRC now. And it's kind of easier to kind of, go through. So, hey, Hunter Michiche, hello there. Mad Boy, hi, Mapper from Moscow. Hello, nice to have you here. PD0PMS, hello there from the Netherlands. Hello there, Jeff KD5QDO. Setting up a 2-meter SSB radio in the truck. Cool. Yeah, it's been a long time, Mad Boy. That's what I was thinking when I saw your name. John Derek, hello there, W2JLD. Scotty Tier 6. No word on the R86 yet. Sad, sad. Hey, Jerry. VA2XMX, Petro. Nice to have you here. Cesar Coelho. Nice to have you here. Danny Shortwave Radio DX from Yonkers, New York. Hello there. Yeah, we did. I didn't even look. We have crossed 9,000 subs. Cool. Cool. I guess we'll wait till I'm gonna wait till the big 10,000 number. And cool. Oh, Radio Zip got me on the big screen. I'm always scared when people say, "Hey, you're on my 60-inch TV." It's like, I don't know. I'm not sure I like that idea. Cheers, everyone. Don de Dieu, gift from God today. Pretty good beer. I've been tasting that one lately. Hello there, Van Deoto from the Netherlands, PA0020 SWL. Elyabi, Tuyabi, something like that. Hey there. Richard Cook, nice to have you here. John Ritson, Steve P. in Australia. MDK2. Am I missing anybody? Sean Fahe. What do we have? Anybody I've missed? Say hello. I'm going to say hello. Good evening, my Greek friend. Nice to have you here. I will not try to pronounce that name of yours, but you know who you are. Nice to have you here. Yeah, that's possible, Radio Zip, that there's no chat on the iPad YouTube app. That's very possible. I haven't tried it. I've never tried it on a different device to see if the chat room was there. So it's possible. Hunter Machich says he's got an Alicrafters S38B. Need an antenna, and I need antenna ideas for a small room apartment more specifically. You can start out with, a little piece of wire across the room and see how it goes. Depending on the noise level around you, sometimes it actually is pretty surprising. So that's one thing that you can try out. And yeah, I know life is incredible, man, boy. I've been so busy here, and I've no time to do anything else. Yesterday I was supposed to do some videos and stuff, and you know what? I do videos all the time. And yesterday afternoon, I had some clients, and I went, do some tech duties. And then I just decided to, what the hell, let's go downtown a little bit, do a few things, and finally, I had to take a little break from videos, so can tell you. So Cesar Coelho is in Providence, Rhode Island, and yep. I will continue. I need to continue the R20 videos for sure, because a lot of you have been asking. I don't understand half the things. So it's It's I need to do a full video manual of that thing, especially since the manual is extremely bad at explaining. So, hello there, Radio Zip 2. Hello to your wife. Nice to have you on board. Yeah, I guess it's, when you're doing something else, it's one of the great ways of staying there and being able to watch while we're doing something else. So many things to do. What else do we have here? Anybody else that I've missed? RF Burns, Nick Casarino from California. Hello there, Nick. Nice to have you here. Sherry, je suis le don de Dieu. Brett Wayne, hello there. KC2NXP. Mr. Roman, when you mean a piece of wire, what kind and what gauge or gauge? The size of the wire doesn't matter. Just any electric wire pretty much does a job as an antenna. So any speaker wire, any electric wire that you can find somewhere at the hardware store, anywhere, it does the job for an antenna. So what you could do is hook it up, put 10, 20 feet of it, and try in different ways or different parts of your room, and hook it up to the radio, and it could be very surprising what you'll get with that. Very, very surprising sometimes what you get with that. Oh, Spyros. Okay. Spyros. We will remember that name. And Hi Mapper in Moscow says 10-second delay. Pretty cool. Travers Divine, Radio Zip 2. Android app has chat. Yes, that is possible. Hello there, Fastload. Fortunately, we weren't able to meet for the radio, but we'll try to fix that soon. Having some left. Why not? That's a nice beer. MDK2 says homebrewed magnetic loop. Yeah, something else. That's another thing that is kind of interesting. Trying to maybe do magnetic loop of some sort. There are some. There's a few places where they have instructions on to build one at home on the internet. PLF in France says 5-second delay. Nice to have everybody on board. Untangling a wire as we speak. Cool. Try it out. It depends. That will work or not in the noise level you got in your home. So basically, if you have a lot of noise, it might not be a good idea. It might not work very well. If you don't have too much noise, it might actually do surprising job. I can tell you that. Okay, so what else do we have here? Okay, so what can we hook up at the end? Wire hangers, chicken fence, a tinfoil hat. Actually, you don't have to put anything at the end. You can just, attach it to something, preferably something that's not metal, because it might actually change the properties of the wire depending on what type of metal thing you're putting on at the end. But the wire itself will act as an antenna. The wire itself. Yeah, we'll see, Fastload, if we yes or no. We can try tonight. I'll know a little later. Oh yeah, Clint's videos using barbed wire fence for an antenna. It could be very, very, very surprising. Ghosts of Asia. I find with a random wire antenna connected to my portable in my backyard, I get a bunch of talk radio bleeding over the RHF spectrum. That is one of the major issues, is when a radio doesn't have enough, selectivity, and the front end isn't well designed. Unfortunately, that often causes some issues with the with overloading on the receiver. I'm just gonna do something, guys, because I do find that it's annoying to see the shadow of my camera over. So I guess like this, I think it's gonna be better. And I won't have camera shadow over me. Here we go, camera shadow is here now. So I'm not in the camera shadow. So better like this. What else do we have? Voice of Free China is, well, Voice of Free China used to be Radio Taiwan. So I don't know if there's any other new or Voice of Free China now on the air, but Voice of Free China used to be what is now today Radio Taiwan. So Danny Shortwave, I have my old radios hooked up to a very long wire outside, works well, much better in the evening. So, you know, wire, if you can put the wire, you know, sometimes even in an apartment, what I would do is hang a piece of wire and let it hang through the window outside, and that also, you know, that all depends on the possibilities you have. So that's for sure. What else do we have? Man Radio DX, what can be received? Hello there, first of all. And what can be received? Hey, Paulie Steckler, forgot I almost jumped over you. And welcome aboard. What is the best beer for singing karaoke? It depends on how well you sing karaoke. I would suggest that the less you sing well, the more you get strong beer to make sure that you just can go through the song. But my usual beer at the karaoke. Somebody's calling me, private number. What the hell? With the BBC tune. You know, a real shortwave guy. He's got the BBC interval signal for... So let me just put my phone into a vibrate mode. And here we are. And of course, this is the time. It's a real good time, if you are wondering. You know, where if we're live or anything, you have all the information here. This clock is always set perfectly with WWV just before I actually start the show. So I'm a little far back in the chat room. So if anybody is actually asking a question, don't worry. I'm actually a little far back, but I'll catch up. Lots. You know, we're getting more and more popular, so the chat room is getting more and more active, and it's like, woo! I'll soon need someone to be just for the chat room and do something with that. So about 2 gigahertz, not a lot of stuff, but you have, you know what? I always thought that 2.4 gigahertz cordless phones were only digital. Well, no, I hear this little old lady on 2415 megahertz from time to time talking on her phone. So I guess there are some analog stuff there. But above 2 gigahertz, there's really not a lot of stuff. You know, if you're thinking of just buying it because of the range that goes through 3.3 gigahertz, you will buy it for pretty much nothing, because above 2 gigahertz really ain't that much. And the fact that above about 1.5 gigahertz, the radio uses a up converter. What's happening, or a down converter, sorry. What's happening is that you get bleeding of pretty much everything in the lower UHF and the upper band. So for example, signals at 400 megahertz, I'll hear them like at 2800 megahertz or something like that. And I gotta say, from experience, it doesn't seem to be very sensitive above 2 gigahertz, I must say. Negative side of the R20. But it's a great device. It's a great device. Leafy Lane, hello there. I have yet to check out Whisper, WSPR, that mode. I have yet to check that. Carl Sanson, nice to have you here. Tuned to 15140, Sultanate of Oman on WJ 8711A. That's Waskin Johnson's, I would guess. Let's check it out. What do we hear on 15140 here? Let's just tune. It's interesting because I hear kind of two signals. Let me check that out. I hear Radio Havana, Cuba, with its Cuban music. But you know what's funny? Seems to be like mixed in with something else, which might be Oman. But this is Radio Havana, Cuba, French right now on 15140 that I get here. So yeah, I should do an April's Fool joke like, well, joke, there's no show today. Bye. You guys would be mad. What? I came up just for a 10-minute show saying, hey, happy April Fools. Michael Mora, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. 12 seconds delay in the Netherlands. So, yeah, cool. Try it out. I think you're going to have a lot of stuff. And I hope Not Fast Load was not you. Yes, I did see your TNC digital packet decoding. You I guess you used the 2-meter packet BBS that's in the 2-meter band, right? What's the best beer to listen to shortwave, Jerry? Any beer. Your favorite beer. That's the best answer. Your favorite beer is the best beer for shortwave. But I have yet to try to find one that I can order because apparently there's a British Columbia brewery that makes a beer called Shortwave. And I'd like to have a shortwave beer while tuning around the shortwave bands. That'd be kind of cool. So Radio Havana, Cuba, 15140. Michelle, there's some April Fool jokes related to shortwave radio. I mean, does shortwave stations used to make April Fool jokes? I remember a few stations making April Fool's jokes, yes. Not a lot of them, but there have been a few stations. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in the past, and maybe it would be time to listen today, Radio Romania, I believe, had an April's Fool joke. They had like a fake report about something in Romania that we all did really? And so yes, there are some stations, but to mine, I don't remember a specific one, but I believe there was one of Radio Romania at some point. So oh yes, we have to visit. Yeah, I'd love to visit Greece. Must be a very beautiful country, and with all its history and its past, for sure. Hey, Richard in Atlanta, nice to have you here. How much DXing do you do above 30 megahertz, and what do you listen to? I do two things with the above 30 megahertz usually. If there's bad weather, my first thing that I will do will be to listen to local stuff. But if you're talking about DXing long distance stuff, I will often tune around, especially if I see that the 27 or the 10-meter band's open or that there's some CB skip. I will often tune around from 30 to 54. So 30 to 50 megahertz. Often I will receive, U.S. Police stations or fire stations or whatever, all sorts of communications that are in 30 to 50 megahertz in some states. I remember listening a few years ago to a police chase in Texas around 37, 38 megahertz. It was kind of funny. It was like, okay. Took time for me to know where that was. But, you listen to the roads and things and you just Google it. And at some point it's like, oh, I think it's in Texas. Stuff like that. I do a lot of listening of the 6-meter band. You know, the 50 to 54, I am hooked to that band when propagation works. And that's pretty much where the DX goes. As for other types of DX, I sometimes go on VHF or UHF and look for, you know, temperature inversions, stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes you get really long distance, so you'll get something that you never hear, or a 2-meter ham repeater that is usually out of range, that is suddenly clear, as if it was a local one because of the weather pattern, stuff like that. That's the kind of DXing that I like. You know, even in the upper bands, VHF, UHF, I'm a guy that likes to try to get the things the farthest signal possible all the time. So, okay, what else do we have? Let's try not to, yeah, you know, if like I was saying, Mad Radio DXer, if you're buying it to hear stuff above 2 gigahertz, you'll be disappointed. So that's why it might not be a good idea. Hello there, Morrison AB. A Fedry good to get for someone coming back to shortwave. If you are, you know, a little computer literate and know your way around computers, I gotta say the Ephedry is an amazing device. It's really, really cool. I'm hooked listening to shortwave with that box now. And I gotta say that I haven't turned on this radio at all this week, except for a few exceptions to check something. I was in the living room with, you know, the waterfall on my 50-inch TV, and that's pretty much what I do, and I just love it. And so yeah, it could be a good decent device to go back to shortwave. Mind you that you'll always have to use a computer to tune around. If that's okay with you, using a computer all the time, yes, why not? Hey, Steve Quilter, nice to have you here from UK. M3CSP, nice to have everybody here. Pretty clear. Richard Cook says nothing on 15140 over there. Matt in the UK, hello there, nice to have you here. Yeah, but I have so many people knocking on my door. Juan Amigo, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. And Jerry says, I need a shortwave beer. Yeah, 15140 is Radio Havana, Cuba in French. Right now, fast load. PLF. Why in British Columbia they call this beer you mentioned before shortwave? I have no idea. There must be some kind of history, but I really need to try to find one. I'd like to have, you know, someone. If anybody in British Columbia can find a shortwave beer, man, I'll pay for the postage and I'll pay for the beer. Just let me know that you got it, and I'll send you the cash, and you can send me a box with a couple of they're in cans. And I'd love to have one while doing the show. It would be really, really cool. So if anybody watching this or later on lives in British Columbia and can get easily a shortwave beer, contact me. I want to have a couple of those brews for sure. So Matt UK says just bought the RTF SDR.com. Really cool. The RTL, yeah. I'm trying to DX DRM, having fun. These things are really, really cool to have a lot of fun for sure. Pretty cool. Is there anything? Richard in Atlanta says anything much to listen about 2 gigahertz? Nah, not really. That's why if you buy a device just to listen there, you know, personally, I would have bought it anyway. I would have preferred the R20 to, say, for example, stop at 2 gigahertz, but have better sensitivity and selectivity, and be a little harder on the overloading. put the cache there instead of putting the cache to, because basically it's a great device, it's a great radio, but they really put that number there up to 3.3 gigahertz to try to impress everybody. And I didn't buy it because of the coverage, but I bought it because of all the cool things that it does. So Ghost of Asia says, I was trying WebSDR today. Is there any clear advantages to buying my own? I second the shortwave beer idea. Yes, buying your own SDR is fun. Like the ephedry I got is just so amazing. So amazing. So it's it's fun because you listen to your own area. It's cool to listen to the web SDR receivers, but the thing is, it's fun to have your own and listen in your own location. What I like about web SDRs is, okay, for example, I will see on the schedules, Voice of Mongolia in English is heard in Europe. Well, of course, the frequencies they're using are not propagating to us here. So I'll use a web SDR to listen to what I cannot, basically receive over here. I like that. But it all depends. Some people are content with shooting around the shortwave bands on, like the University of Twente has an amazing receiver, and so amazing setup. So I can tell you that. Okay. What else do we have? I'm gonna try to move a little faster. So yeah, SDRs are not for the faint of heart. I gotta say that. Hey, John Young, nice to have you here. French language station now blasting into Montana on 17530, and I believe that is Voice of America, right? Nothing here right now. It might have stopped, but I believe that's Voice of America that was in French. So PA0020 says likes to catch FM stations from far away. No, Jerry, the ephedry is going to be on Friday. Friday we have a show, and so I will be in the living room with the 50-inch TV, tuning around with the ephedry, and you guys will see the 50-inch waterfall of HDSDR. It's really cool. Really, really cool. So, we're going to do that. Can tell you that. What else do we have here? Yeah, like Danny Shortwave Radio DX says, it's better to have, of course, if you have the money, better to jump on the ephedry immediately than to just buy the Soft 66 IP, because you do have a much better receiver. Much better receiver. Hey, Luis, nice to have you here. Why does Cuba still broadcast spy numbers? I guess it's because they must have spies pretty much across North America, and it's the easy way to have broadcasts. And by the way, talking about that, was extremely nice to hear Radio Havana, Cuba on 10715 last night, the frequency used for the spy number. And then you're going to tell me it doesn't come from the same place. That was really nice. I heard it for about 10 minutes. Yes, Mad Radio DXer, I need that. That would be what I need. I really need something like that, because the Walbrook, because in the past years, the noise has been increasing more and more, and you know what? I think I've got new neighbors downstairs, and I've got new noise on the bands, and I believe that I'm to a point now where almost everywhere my noise level is S9. So that means, you know what? I am starting to really have big limits of shortwave listening here, which is sad for somebody like me that, you know, so I will, I have to get one for sure, Walbrook. So, yeah, well, if Fidry is not as portable as your GP5, that's for sure. Jerry, get 2 6-packs of shortwave. I'll borrow a few cans, no problem, Jerry. Hey, William Helms, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Tmos93, hello there. Heading to Beer Talk, Voodoo Ranger IPA right now. Cool, cool. I believe I've seen that. Moderator the extras using the University of 20 SDR more often. Very good signals heard recently. There's, you know what? The University of 20 SDR has one thing. If you listen to that all the time and then you decide to buy a radio, you were on such a marvelous receiver and a marvelous setup that you're just going to look at your radio and say, man, I don't get anything here compared to what you hear on that web SDR, I can tell you that. Richard in Atlanta says, I guess where I'm going to with my question is it worth $2,000 or more for the ICOM 8600 or go with an ICOM 7300 transceiver for $1,400? Here's the difference. There's a major difference between both. The ICOM 7300 transceiver, if you only want to do HF listening, and of course, if you're an amateur radio operator, you get a transceiver. Of course, the ICOM 7300 is the best choice because it's less expensive. The difference is that the ICOM 8600 is a wideband receiver. It goes up to, I don't know, 2 or 3 gigahertz. It really goes high. So if you want to add the capabilities of receiving, like the ICOM here, the reason my 8500 will always stay here, even if, okay, because I can now see really myself DXing more and more with the ephedry. Even though I would probably do that with the ephedry, this is the best VHF UHF receiver I got. It's just an amazing receiver. So, the 8600 is like that. It's a very wideband receiver. That's why it's more expensive. It's way different. It doesn't receive the same frequency ranges. So that's why it's more. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you require or do you want to tune around VHF, UHF ranges on a very good radio? Then, of course, the ICOM 8600 is the answer. It's more expensive, but it has a very wide range. If VHF, UHF scanning and listening to signals doesn't really appeal to you, of course, then get an ICOM 7300 transceiver. It's only $1,400, only, of course, with question marks, but it's $1,400. And you've got a great, great receiver, and it's a transceiver. That's pretty much what I would say. You know, if it all depends on what you want to tune, I can tell you that. Getting something on 18 megahertz sounds foreign. Okay, you might be listening to the 16 meter band. If you know what language, let's tune around the 16 meter band just for fun. What is there here? Well, 16 meter band is dead, man. I've got nothing. Nothing at all. Really, so WWV here. Let's check out the 19 meter band. Cuba in Spanish on 15370. Actually, I'm not sure what the language. Maybe not Spanish. Radio Estéreo de España, or Radio Nacional España, the Spanish national radio, 15520, 15520.
Esto es lo que le está pasando al Málaga. Es lo que le está pasando al Málaga, que se ha... por la permanencia. Son la justicia española. El problema del Málaga es la justicia.
Not the best propagation, but we have Spain, 15520. That's pretty good. I think it's their new daytime frequency. So, so I will do a video on the R20 edges, I can tell you that. Hunter Michich says, I live in Massachusetts. Cool. Nice to have you here. Always nice to have everybody. Pito RM, greetings from Mexico. Greetings from Montreal, Canada. Nice to have everybody here. And always really cool to see everybody here. Okay. Timo93 equal Radio Zep. Thank you for mentioning that. Did you hear about the spy who shot the rival spy and missed? He shot him again and hit the same place. Man. Too many accounts between too many devices. Yeah, that I totally understand that. I can tell you that. What else do we have? Mario the Extra says, I had a transceiver which I only use as a receiver, and the result was Best Buy, a receiver or an only radio. Okay. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Let's check it out here but quickly. Anything I'm missing? Time for a discount antenna to eliminate the noise. The Kenwood TS440S, yeah, I believe is a pretty good in the receiving range. It rivals, it's close to a, or even a little better than a Kenwood R5000 receiver. It is a good receiver from what I know. What else do we have here? Yeah, I need a discount. I need to put up a discount here too for my VHF, UHF listening. That's for sure. GK Sanford. Hi, I'm in Chilliwack, British Columbia, and have found that Shortwave beer is from Phillips Brewing and Malting in Victoria, BC. I will see what I can do. It's not far, and I know some people in the area. Well, if you can do anything about that, I tell you, just tell me. I'll send you the money. Send you the money, and you just ship me the beer. Because I can't seem to find anyone here. And when I asked, the only place I can ask for such, they said they couldn't do anything about it and get me some beer. So, because I'd love to have that beer. Nothing like a shortwave beer when you're doing live shows. Yeah, well, if the King Index, I believe, is at 4, Richard Cook, so it might, yeah. SG1 is Nebraska. Yeah, well, I think they updated the, we have Solarflex 91 K4. Shortwave Pale Ale. Yeah, kind of cool. Kind of cool. Does anyone know about the Borg Johnson shortwave radio? Friend has one, and it's an interesting radio. You should try 11 meters SSB. CB. Yes, I should. Matt, UK 15520, loud and clear. In the UK. Cool. P020SWL says now about 5560 kilos. Looks like SSB, but can't make anything of it. Here it's a little early for such a low frequency, but let's check out if I hear something. Nothing much here. There's a lot of activity on the. I love the SDR. I'm gonna tell you one thing. I love the SDR, the ephedry SDR because of the waterfall. You know, yesterday the only reason I noticed that Cuba was on 10.715 is while looking at the waterfall, I saw a signal in 10 megahertz. And when I clicked, I said, "Oh, that's the SPY number." And then I was surprised to hear Radio Havana, Cuba. Kind of fun. Kind of a very, very, very interesting thing. Spazu Radio, hello there. Have you ever picked up signals from outer space? Well, yes, if you count that the low Earth orbit satellites are in outer space, on this receiver, and also on the portable ICOM ICR-20, I received tons of different satellites that you can listen to, including amateur radio satellites. If you're talking about like farther away, the only thing that I'm aware of that apparently is not that difficult to get is the planet Jupiter, and this month is the best month for that right now, because it's high in the sky in the month of April in the evening, around 21 megahertz. They have there's some noise. Jupiter makes some crackles and some pops, and sometimes it sounds like waves, and it comes from the planet Jupiter. So what else do we have here? Mr. Roman, why was their transmission so clear? Are you talking about Spain? They give out Spain has a great transmitting site because I mean their signal's always great. Always great. William Helms says Super Bowl CB on channel 6 on 27025 is cool. Some guys shoot. Yes, you know what? I know some have 5 kilowatts there. I mean, let's just try it. I don't think there's anything on right now, but if I always go on this is the channel 27025. Is the place that I stay on if I want to know if the upper bands are propagating, if there's sporadic E-skip. So and it's always coming really, really strong. GP5 is a great radio. It's really, really nice. All that's missing is a keypad, and it would be amazing. The lack of keypad is a little annoying. Nick Amendot in Romania. I hope I said hi. Hello there. Is anybody using any Android app for receiving weather faxes? Which one do you recommend? I don't know. Are there what is there for weather fax on? Let's check it out here. What can I find for weather fax? WeFax Chef. Where's G? Chef. What is there? Anything here? There's HF weather fax. Okay, there are two. Oh yeah, the one from Black Cat System probably works fine. Black Cat Systems. I've bought many of their apps. Tell you what, it's $6.29. I'm going to purchase the HF weather fax from Black Cat System and do a review. But you know what? There's two apps. There's another one called HF weather fax for Marine. That one's $12 here. And it has 4.2 stars. 4.2 out of 5 stars. Seems to be a good one. Pretty much worthless. Finally, to get okay. Well, let's see here. Works pretty well for the code. However, the interface for looking at stored images is clunky. So for $12, it's a little expensive apparently. The other one, Black Cat Systems, Nice WeFax app, works well on Galaxy Tab. Needs work. After using this for 3 days now, I've become increasingly frustrated. Simple and effective. So it's it's an all or nothing review here. So what I'll do, I'll purchase them and do I'll do a review on the channel of these apps. I've never decoded. Yep, 330 CHU Canada on 3330 is down, and I have read that the reason they are down is that they've been having problems and they weren't sure where the problem was. They finally pinned it down to the transmission line between the transmitter and the antenna. The problem is it's underground, and because the ground is frozen because it's winter, they cannot go to it right now. But they say that as soon as the ground gets, thaws and they can do it, they'll try to get there and fix it. But there was an interesting twist in that phrase, because it was the wording sounded like we're not, almost as if they're wondering if they want to put it back or not. Let's hope it does, because that one is like a 24-hour thing here. 3330. So yeah, waterfalls on the SDR are hypnotic. One thing that actually made me kind of give me a little downer was that I put the SDR in a meter band, like a 31 meter band for shortwave signals, and I look at how few signals there are, and it just kind of depresses me, because now you have a visual of, yeah, the shortwave bands are a little dead compared to what they were in the past. So hey, Tube to Holland, nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. Cool. Cheers, everybody. So really cool. So Nick Hammond out. What else do we have here? Candy Clover, hello there. Nice to have you here. So he says he used Wolfie for receiving Coast Guard HF. Okay. Not a little too long after drinking beer. That's why every time I go somewhere and I drink alcohol, I always stand up, because usually if I drink a little alcohol, I'll tend to fall asleep, and that's not what you want to do. That's for sure. So you are watching the Shortwave show live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and here I'll be doing my little annoying moment where if you can help me in any way to continue and maybe increase my output. Donations are accepted for my shows. I really like what I do. Unfortunately, it takes time, and I devote a lot of time to try to make these. I'd like to increase the output of shows, even radio shows. So if you can help me in any way, there's PayPal. I'm going to post the PayPal and the Patreon on the chat room. Please consider donations. We already have some wonderful people that contribute. We've got 8 patrons. If you go on patreon.com/radio and computers, basically you are you're my boss, and you give me a little something for what you deem to be important. And you know what? Just looking at the, there's a boycott right now of people on of companies are boycotting YouTube ads right now, and it's really hurting me bad. So I'm in a little moment where I'm kind of struggling a little bit of what I can do with that. So any help is that you can give me. Thank you very much. It's really helping me a lot. Like I always say, if I didn't have donations starting last year, I'm sorry, but I probably would not output as many shows. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because if no money gets in, I got to devote my time to something else. Unfortunately, we all have rent, and all the equipment, and the electricity bills come in, the cell bill come in, the internet bills come in. You got to pay, and so you got to choose where you devote time. And I'll try to continue devoting as much time as I can here. So thank you, anyone that can help me. Thank you for all those that are donated. Thank you for my patrons on patreon.com. It's really, really cool because you guys are very consistent, very regular. Helps me a lot. And for all of those that donated through PayPal also, thank you very much. It's really, 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 really great, and I just love it. And thanks. And if you've never donated and you watch these shows all the time and you love what I do, why not think about a little something? And it doesn't have to be a big amount. I mean, I do understand that we don't all have tons of money to donate to everybody all the time. But if you think it's worth it, you like what I do, it's really, really cool. And thank you all. This is the Shortwave Show. We're almost into an hour now. Shortwave Show coming to you from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And yeah, why not donate to help me get a Wellbrook? That'd be good. Richard Cook says 16180 for HM01. Let's just check it out if it's going to be here. Yep, it's there. If you want to hear number station. 16180. It's about S8 here in Montreal. In the noise, but it's there. So 16180, the Cuban number station. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. So take care, Hunter Michich. Have a nice hunt around the web SDRs. And hey, Captain Ron, sent another PayPal a few days ago. Mr. Obsessive Compulsive here. About an 880, a 680, an ATS 909X, and another older pre-DSP 1103. Well, that's cool. These are nice. They're all nice receivers. Kenny Clover, so how do you like the QFX boombox? Been looking at the J22. You know what? I actually like it a lot. It's a fun little thing. It's I like it because it reminds me so much of the boombox I had when I was younger. And it's okay performing. It's not the end of the world. It's not gonna perform like crazy, but I'll try to make a few more videos this week or in the coming weeks of shortwave reception on this. And has 4-track cassette tape, has the ability to read on SD cards, USB. If you put your songs or your audio on a USB stick, put it in here. For the price, and it's mostly that also. For the price that it is, it's amazing. Having all that in such a low price. The only thing you gotta know, I don't know if the J22 is better for that. The J21 is a mono. It's a mono sound, so you don't have stereo sound in here. But you know what? I love putting a tape in there. I got a box full of 4-track cassette tapes that I made many years ago. Sometimes I just, randomly take one and put it in there and just let it play. It's kind of fun. Really love it. And it's pretty cool. What else do we have here? Richard Cook not receiving it today. Yeah, it's possible with the condition that it's not making it up to there. Hey, David in Barcelona. Nice to have you there, Mr. Raptor 22 Stealth. Pretty cool. And yeah, we're going to just take a break here to talk about a few things about shortwave. First of all, thank you, Scotty Tier 6, for remembering this little moment. The This weekend is the Global HF Pirate Weekend. And so today and tomorrow, there are some pirates on between 15010 and 15100, 21455 to 21550. At about 15:30 UT today, I was hearing Cupid Radio in the Netherlands. Weak, but I could hear the music on 15074.6 or 15075 on the Ephedry SDR. And so try it out. It is a Global HF Pirate Weekend. Also, the A17 schedule season is now upon us. For the last week, we are on the new schedules of the summer season for shortwave broadcasts. If you can't really find, I got distracted by the chat room here. So A17, if you can't find your favorite shortwave station, it probably changed frequency. And the fact is, because of some crappy propagation, the higher frequencies that, for example, Radio Romania, it's been coming in okay on 7375, but that 9730 kilohertz frequency, forget it. I haven't heard it at all. But it is going to get better as we get into summer. So that's for sure. Carl Sanson, you can donate by going to patreon.com/radio and computers. Or if you have a PayPal account, you can donate at the Yahoo email address that I put in the chat. That's where you can donate through PayPal if you want to. So, but you need a PayPal account. And for those that wonder, PayPal accounts, because I always get that question all the time. PayPal accounts, you don't need a credit card. You can just link it to the your checking account in your bank, and it works. So that's how it works. Or else, patreon.com/radio and computers. There's that's where it happens. Okay, what else do we have here? Is the little green Kato at SSB that would make a good radio for going camping? Oh, it's a nice little receiver. That mine is the Degen version. It is very, very nice for what it is. Would be fun to have some kind of single sideman on that for sure. That would be really, really cool. So hey, we're hitting 70 people watching live. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. The Saturday turnout is always pretty good. So as I was saying, we are in the 8/17 season for shortwave schedules. So that means that you can find your station somewhere else than you were used to listening to. EIBI Space has updated its schedule, so eibispace.de. They're 90% complete, so it might be a little difficult to, sometimes find your favorite station. So check it out through EIBI Space. I think that's, a nice list, and that guy works so hard to have that list always working correctly. So really, really, really cool. Okay, what else do we have here? So A17 Global Pirate HF this weekend. Apart from that, I will be talking about the Ephedry SDR. This week I'll be posting videos and my full review. I didn't want to rush the full review. PLF. Yeah, well, they use the same as PLF says short-wave.info has updated also. But they use the EIBI space schedules. So that's why they update, because these websites pretty much all use the schedules. So anywhere you want your schedules. So for the first weeks, we're always a little lost trying to find our favorite stations. And I've been tuning around because I'm trying to find frequencies that might propagate stuff. I found that I believe it's 15460 BBC from 15 to 16 UT from Madagascar is making it here to Montreal. That's kind of nice. So really, really, really cool. Matthew K says, just tried to get Radio Romania on DRM using my SDR. Shortwave info was wrong. No DRM signal present. I am using SDR Sharp in Dream software. Yeah. Yeah, they were. I don't know what. It's possible that there was no SDR. No DRM right now. The schedules are not yet complete. There are some frequencies that are still not correct in the lists. So as time goes by, they'll get a little better. SL Joseph 74, hello there. 73 K5 BGL. Nice to have you here. Interesting. Richard Cook receiving 155220 couldn't earlier. M Fan Magician 16.180 coming well in Las Vegas on his satellite 750. That's nice. Cool. So that's pretty nice. I will have my favorite shortwave schedule list also. Some of you have been asking when I'll actually be posting my April favorite shortwave schedule list, and that's coming this week. Also, if you want to get advanced notification of my shows, I always kind of about an hour before the show starts, I send an email. So just ask me to be put on the list. The list is, you have to simply say a little hello and can I be on the list of notifications for your shows? And you send that to officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. And now let's check out Richard in Atlanta, 15520 is Spain. It's radio, it's kind of radio, Exterior de España, but basically broadcasting the national Spanish radio. But it's Spain, Richard in Atlanta, on 15520. And it's directed to North America, by the way. Can we hear NASA and ISS on shortwave? You cannot listen to the ISS on shortwave, but the NASA, I believe NASA has a few shortwave frequencies for different things, but pretty much everything there happens on VHF, UHF. So if you want to listen to the International Space Station, 145.800, 145.825 also, and they have a few other things there. Jerry says, just had a crate coming down my backyard with parachute. The crate read shortwave beer. Yeah, April Fools. Dave in Ohio, nice to have you here, listening to the ARRL AM tally right now on 7288. Let's check it out. Do we hear that here? 7288 AM mode. Nope. But there's China Radio International that comes from Albania transmitter site on 7285. Real good here.
Earliest to do that, or today's the last day.
No, say it isn't so.
Well, you'll need to say goodbye to BBBU, the bullet comment that it's not our problem, it's WeChat's problem.
We didn't do it.
We didn't do it, and so let's cherish that moment and we should shoot those bullets, all right?
So China Radio International via Albania transmitter site 7285. Talking about Albania, you guys, if you don't know, Radio Tirana pulled the plug. So Radio Tirana shortwave is gone forever. Unfortunately, we've lost another shortwave station. Vatican Radio still on some frequencies, but soon to pull the plug. One interesting thing happening with Vatican Radio, the Vatican radio transmitter site, it seems that NHK, the Japanese broadcaster, wants to buy the shortwave transmitting site of Vatican Radio. Now that is nice because that means that they will probably be selling airtime to different stations for sure. So basically that's pretty much what's happening. So let's hope that NHK buys the transmitter site. I think yeah, Santa Maria di Galleria. Thank you for putting down that name. I remember it was Santa Maria something, but I didn't have the name. So PLF Santa Maria di Galleria transmitter site, and NHK seems to want to buy it. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We have Richard in Atlanta says a very strong signal from Spain, 15520. Yeah, it packs a great signal in North America. Richard says that 7285 is S6 over there. Matt in the UK says 7285, very good. So pretty nice. Radio Zip says 7285 noisy with S3. Cool. And what else do we have? I saw something here. Yeah, that's it. Radio Exterior de España is not really Radio Exterior de España anymore. It's Radio Nacional domestic station, basically. And broadcast the same as the other question that I saw is what happened to the VHF UHF YouTube channel. Well, you know what's happening? I have limited amount of time and I have to concentrate to the most important channels for me. So the most important channels for me are the Windows channel, which is my top channel, and this channel, the shortwave channel, which is a pretty good channel also for me. So I have to concentrate on where I devote a lot of time. So unfortunately, I don't do a lot of VHF UHF stuff. So I've not been posting much on the VHF UHF channel. And so unfortunately, it's time. If I had time to do just that, I'd try to make it better, but it's very difficult. And when you have too many YouTube channels to take care, at some point it's like, okay, I'm just not don't have the time to do it. But I'll try to do my best to post from time to time on there, for sure. Apart from that, yeah, Mad Radio DX, Radio Tirana, they had a very, they had severely cut their schedule. And the audio and the station's transmissions were really, really, really bad. I mean, when I could hear Radio Tirana, I barely could understand what they were saying. So, that doesn't help a station either when you just, it's like Radio Cairo. You're just wondering. You don't understand a thing on Radio Cairo. They stopped broadcasting on shortwave, and we just really wouldn't care much because we just don't understand a thing they're saying. I can tell you that. Ah, man. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, Vatican Radio did stop a lot of transmissions. They stopped English pretty much everywhere. They're really really making their schedule, reducing the schedule a lot on Vatican Radio. So at some point they won't be there anymore unless NHK would buy the transmitter site and they maybe would rent to Vatican Radio or something. But it's soon to be gone. Hey, Sunburn 90, nice to have you on board as usual. Yep, like David says, at least China Radio International will keep the transmitters and antennas going in Albania. I even believe there are some Chinese-made transmitters at the CEREC site for the relay tasks. Yeah, they have their own transmitters, I believe, for that. They really have their own transmitters for that. 19-meter band active now. Plenty to listen to on the 8711A. Carl Sanson, cool. Hey, D-Raf, nice to have you here. Greetings from Kingston, New York. Pretty cool to have you on board. And nice to have everybody here. Really nice to have everyone here. Let's just check it out if I missed anything. So, I'll just come back in 2 seconds, guys, because I am not sure, but I think I've just heard DX the cat puke somewhere. And I want to just make sure that okay, no, it really sounded like that, but he's just sleeping. So I guess there's some kind of other noise. It doesn't happen very often, but you get ready to that little moment, where the cat pukes his food because he eats too fast. So he's fine. He's fine. Colin Murray, nice to have you on board. And it's never too late, when you're here, you're here. That's cool. That's the important thing. So, well, it comes from the old days, Imagine the number of transmitters across Russia when, there were all these jammers and with Radio Moscow. I still remember when Radio Moscow would transmit on 25 different frequencies at the same time on shortwave. Those were the days. Radio Moscow was so easy to hear back then. It was still not too bad when it was Radio Voice of Russia, but I didn't check the HF. I didn't check the HFCC list, but I wonder if Voice of Russia once again took some frequencies just in case they come back. Cheers, everyone. My Kenwood 830. Hello there, WU3D. Nice to have you on board. So, what else do we have here? Timo93 says, Hangout beer is now Ballast Point Mentor Rate Double IPA. Very tasty. Cool. Cool. That sounds pretty. So let's just check out here. Yeah, even worse. Even CRI doesn't have as many frequencies. Do you have a cat defibrillator? Man, doesn't work. Too much fur. So yeah, no, he didn't puke or anything. So I think I heard something like that, but what happens with DX is that he heats too fast. especially when there's one type of food that I give him that are little chunks of chicken, and he goes crazy over that one. And but he eats so fast that now I know when I give him little chunks of chicken, I just put one little, tablespoon size in the plate, because if I give him more, he's gonna eat more, and it's almost certain that he's gonna puke. PLF says received Vatican radio several weeks ago. Richard says 14.217. Let's check it out. A ham station from Spain, 14217. Let's check it out here. I just heard him, so he looks pretty strong.
Bravo 8, Charlie Tango Charlie, Echo Alpha 2 Kilo Charlie. Very good evening. Thank you for the call. Big signal. You are 20 dB sober in Spain, and you have my name, Jose. Back to you. Whiskey Bravo 8 Charlie Tango Charlie, Portable, Virginia, Echo Alpha 2 Kilo Charlie.
Echo Alpha 2 Kilo Charlie. Amateur radio from Spain. He's really loud and clear. Amazing signal. So, pretty cool. No, Sunbird 90 did not watch the Blue Jays game. I did not have time for that. I was too busy doing other things and preparing this show. And but I really would have liked to be there. I can tell you that. That guy is amazing signal.
For the information, running the photovoltaic stack pins and the 1 kilowatt. So thank you for the contact. 73 and good DX. Bye bye.
I believe I just heard a V6 station from
9 Mike Kilo, Echo Alpha 2 Kilo Charlie. Very good evening. Thank you for the call. You are 5 name plus about 10 dBs in Spain. The name here is Jose Juliet Oscar Sierra Echo. Back to you.
Jose in Spain coming in really well. Radio Zip says 14217, decently strong here on his Sony 2010. Cool. So Matt in UK says 14217, clear and loud and clear in the UK. So the guy's backing a great signal. Really a great signal. Brett Wayne receiving 6604 USB weather. So let's just quickly check the weather here. Yeah, not very strong, but it's there, 6604. Let's go back to the Spanish ham station. Pretty cool.
So thank you very much for the contact. Mike 73 and good DX, Whiskey 9 Mike Kilo, EA2 KC.
Jacqueline Luhid, hello there. F4GVE, Adrien, bienvenue, bonjour. Hello there, welcome aboard. And by the way, I'm about to post a little YouTube video for your channel, Adrien. I didn't have a lot of time, but...
Victor Alpha Swing, Mike Echo Tango, EA2 Kilo Charlie. Good evening, thank you for the call. 5 and plus about 10 dBs.
14217, 14217 for Spain. Grigou, hello there. Buy DX one of those cheese-like boxes with holes where you put the food tidbits. DX will have to work for it. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, he's gonna have fun and he's gonna eat a little slower. So pretty cool. I'll try to do something like that. And welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. What else do we have here? Take a look at EA2KC's QRZ page and you'll understand why that is such a big signal. Okay, I'm going to check it out right now. QRZ.com, which is a great place where you can find, by the way, for those that don't know, what's happening. Who is the station you're listening to? Really great page to go to. So check it out. And so QRZ.com, let's check out his page. Login. The guy that's just talking here, VE2, is a guy that doesn't live very far from where I live. So EA2KC, check it out. EA2. So let's check out his station page. Okay, very nice radio first of all. And wow, that is nice. Have you seen that tower from the distance and the antenna? Wow. I understand why. Man, that antenna is so high compared to the rest of the surroundings. It's just amazing. That guy is amazing setup. Wow. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have here? I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay. Adrien says there's something on 7300. My Ken 830 says S7 on his 450D. Richard Cook's listening to Radio Havana, Cuba 13740. Let's take a look at that frequency for a second. 740. Oh yeah, really good signal from Cuba. Amazingly good signal on 13740 for Radio Havana, Cuba. So that Spanish station is amazingly strong. And now I know why by watching the QRZ.com page. Wow. Wow. Mr. Roman, hey Joe, outside of Cuba, Spain, and Russia, what other countries you can hear? I can hear Romania. I can hear a few stations that are relayed from Madagascar. There's the BBC via Ascensions Islands that are coming in pretty good. There are a few South Americans that I catch on... there's a few stations from South America that I catch on the tropical bands, like there's one from Colombia on the 49-meter band also. Radio New Zealand, there's New Zealand coming in at night. Now that we're getting back into summer, New Zealand is going to start to be a regular here once again. There's, of course, China that comes in from Albania pretty good. What else do we have? There's Voice of Vietnam, that's pretty nice. That one's relayed by WRMI, but no, WHRI, sorry. Via WRMI in Okeechobee, Florida, you can hear Radio Prague, Radio Slovakia quite easily here in the evening. Radio Ukraine. So there's lots to listen to, Mr. Roman, much more, but you have to know when to listen because there's still a lot of stuff. You know, I can bet you'd be here one evening with me, and I can bet you would listen to at least 10 different countries via shortwave. You know, it's not like it was before, but there's still stuff to listen to for sure. John Young says 14217 isn't making it past the Rockies. Desmond Green, hello there, love the show. Belfast, Ireland, nice to have you on board. What antenna am I using right now, David in Ohio? I have a 22-meter long sloper in the backyard, so about 75 feet in the backyard, and orientation is east-west, and it's a pretty surprising antenna. It's just I got a lot of noise, so I have to find something else. Andrew DXer says, just saw the EA2KC page. Looks like he stole a relay transmitter from Radio Nacional from Spain. Mr. Roman, I mean, like in a daily basis, Iceland, South Pole, Indonesia, South America, what else? You know, every day there's different things to listen to, and it depends on what you are interested in. I mean, I'll listen in on all sorts of different, say every night I would turn on my shortwave radio, okay, just to give you an example. Then I would be listening to. There's 3 stations I will listen to through the WRMI transmitter site: Radio Ukraine, Radio Prague, Radio Slovakia in the evening, very often. Take care, PLF. It's nice to have you on board. I would have Radio Romania easily. At night, Radio Romania comes in. Both English and French transmissions. I will have easily, if I do a full night, Cuba. I will have, that's an easy one. If propagation is really good, sometimes I can have Argentina, but lately they seem to be off the air. I haven't heard even a little peep of signal on 11710. So maybe they have transmitter problems. Why the hell is somebody calling me here? And that's somebody that obviously doesn't know that I'm doing a live show. What else do we have? So in the evening, I'll be listening to Romania. I'll be listening to the Voice of Vietnam from WHRI. That one usually makes it not too bad of a signal here. And by the way, that's also something I'm going to try to post soon. The my favorite shortwave picks that I always do for specific times for North America and Europe. I like to do that every time we have a schedule change. What else do we have? So I'll have New Zealand later in the evening. Late, 04:05, there's Voice of Turkey. Voice of Turkey is very good, 98:30 at 2200 hours UT. In late at night, more in the summer, it's going to be an interesting one. Voice of America is a regular one for me from the Botswana relay site in Africa. If I had less noise, I would have regular Channel Africa in the evening because it's there. It's just about equal to the noise. Richard says it's me, I'll answer the phone. April Fools. So, anyways, there's lots to listen to regularly. I can tell you that. So, what else do we have here? What else do we have here? Just go back in the chat a little bit to see what people have to say. Okay. Oh yeah, Kenny Clover. That tower that the guy has in Spain is amazing. Vianney Arsenault, welcome. VA2VMA from Gaspésie. Pretty cool. Nice to have you on board. Bienvenue. And this is our live show. Hey, we're almost at 90 live. People watching live. 87 right now. That's pretty cool. Let's see if we can reach 100. That'd be really nice to try to reach 100 today. So 14217 right now. Spain station has. It's a little weaker, but it's still there.
On the right side of the gray line, and but you're doing an excellent job here. So back to you, sir. EA2, Kilo Charlie. This is K4DWR.
K4 station.
Thank you very much for the call. Your signal is
Station is a little weaker now. Spain is a little weaker than it was earlier, though. But it's still there. 14217 upper sideband. Hey, Bullfrog89, nice to have you on board. Just passed your general exam. Cool. Let's all say cool. What's the record for viewers, Radio Zip? I believe I have reached 100. My record, if I'm not mistaken, is 105 or something like that I've reached in one of my shows. In the live views. As for the record on the view page, it's amazing because these shows that I do here on the Shortwave channel, they easily pass the 1,000 view mark after about 2 or 3 days. So they're pretty cool. And hey, donations will make me do more shows. So think about it. If you like what I'm doing, why not do a little something? I'll just annoy you guys a few seconds more with PayPal. And of course, I understand that not everybody can donate. But if you like the shows, PayPal at the Yahoo email. And once again, patreon.com/radio and computers. There you basically become my boss and give me money as you wish for what I do. And more donations means more shows. And I would be happy to add other radio shows without hesitation. Can tell you that. Matt in UK still getting 14,217, very strong. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So congratulations, Bullfrog89. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. Yep, Candy Clover, if you're all rich enough to do that. Unfortunately, it's not the case for everyone. Oh man, Scotty tier 6. Do you think he gets nervous during a lightning storm? I would really, really, really be scared of lightning strikes with an antenna like that. I can tell you that. I can bet you unplug that cable from the radio when the thunderstorm comes. Well, thank you, Radio Zip. It says this is first time live. We'll kick some dollars your way. Thank you very much. It helps me so much, and you guys have no idea how it helps me. I'm really in a situation where I'm trying to do different things here. Pretty soon I'll probably have a little bit of kind of merchandise like T-shirts and different merchandise that are like coffee mugs, stuff like that. So that's coming pretty soon, and we're trying to do our best. And of course, more shows would be fantastic. I can tell you that. Radio Zip says 14217 USB is gone on my radio. It's just Sony. Yeah. Well, it's much weaker than it was. And even here, it's closer to the noise level now. So, what else do we have here? Jerry says a Spaniard. The Spaniard has a huge antenna, makes my discount look teeny weeny. Hey, you're RevDX. Nice to have you here. Really, really nice to have you here. He says his dipole runs east-west. Gonna make another one north-south. My Radio DXer, there's so much less on shortwave these days. I spend my radio time scanning other bands. F4GBE Adrien is receiving 4XZ, the channel marker from Israel, on 4331 CW. I hear 4XZ quite regularly on shortwave. What are the frequencies that 4XZ transmit on? Let's just check out the frequencies. 4XZ frequencies. I like Google, it just completes. 4XZ frequencies. Let's check that out. There's 6607. Let's try 6607 just for the fun of it. 6607 CW. I'm not hearing anything. It's the Israeli Defense Forces Navy in Haifa. Where else? Any other frequencies they're at? I know there are higher frequencies where they are at. They have 13890 sometimes. Apparently, they kind of say that it's kind of a part of a number station a little bit. 11152. Let's check it out. Let's try any frequency here. Nothing there. And 4331, I do not believe will propagate to here. So I'm not hearing anything on 4331, unfortunately. So, but I hear it regularly. I can tell you that regularly. What else do we have here? Yeah, the West Coast has a lot more I am looking at my ephedry SDR waterfall, and I look at how few signals there are now, and I think about, like on the West Coast, you guys have it even worse, especially with the European ones, and it's just sad, but I mean, let's uh, let's try to really keep it up. There's still stuff to listen to. There's still stuff to listen to. I can tell you that. I want a pair of official shortwave channel Gilles glasses so I can look like Gilles while tuning the bands. Thank you very much, Captain Ron. It's much appreciated. Thank you for the donation. Mark Brando, hello there. How about a beer mug? Cozy merchandise. Yeah, why not? Beer mug. That would be nice. Kind of a beer mug for. Okay. Okay. Any ideas you guys have for something you'd like? Memorabilia. I was thinking of a. All sorts of little thingies. A little bit like shortwave stations, also. Like if you give me a donation of this amount, I would send you. All sorts of goodies from from here, and there's a place not far from here that do pretty much everything and print on pretty much everything. And I was looking at the pricing and how I could make some all sorts of memorabilia that you guys can receive for a donation, because I kind of find it cool if you guys donate and I can send you a little something. And in exchange or in return, kind of would be cool if you guys could receive something, So thank you, Captain Ron. Much, much appreciated. I can tell you that. Adrien's receiving the Shannon involvement on 5505. This is regular, usually in the evening. Here we have sunshine for about an hour and a half still. But let's just check it out. 5505. Not getting anything there. One that I'm extremely surprised is 5450, the RF UK Royal Air Force Volmet. Has been so strong lately. So strong lately here in Montreal. William Helms says, I can't find my friend's sign. He told me I have a Baofeng UV 5R coming to get started with 70 centimeters. 2 meters, 70 centimeters. Oh, nice. Kenny Clover, have you ever get anything around 13560? I can hear the door alarm sensors from a store a half a mile away. Yeah, there's all sorts of things. I've never really received anything except maybe stations. And I believe on 13560 I got like a real big tone signal or something. Yeah, I got this. This is 13560 for me. There's almost nothing I can hear there, I can tell you that. Jerry, official shortwave channel beer bong. Oh man. So what else do we have here? No problem, DX. Yeah, I know it does boost every. Once again, I'll send it back again. If anybody has a shortwave radio channel, okay, and that the majority of your videos are shortwave or radio related, let me know. I'll be happy to do a little highlight on your channel. And this will, pretty much everybody that I do this tell me they have anywhere from like 25 to 50, 60, 70 new subscribers most of the time. So, if I can help you out, I'd be very, very happy. I want to have this as a collaboration type channel where, we can help each other at the same time. Not just, do my stuff and that's it. I like to share. I really like to share, and help the others at the same time. There's too many people that are in this hobby right now that are so so idiot in what they do, and they think they can just do as they want. I mean, come on. So, hey, thank you very much, everybody that sent me donations. It's so much appreciated. You have no idea. No idea. Okay, what else do we have? So, I've got a question for you guys. In a typical, say you have a typical shortwave evening, what would be your, we all have our little habits. Like if I'm not tuning around and trying to find unusual signals, it's, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to listen to specific signals. So me, in an evening, if I sit down, say starting 6 p.m. local time, and go to all evening, okay, I will have my regulars that I call, which is if propagation is correct, I'll listen to specific stations. So, in an evening, personally, I will listen to, Radio Romania as a regular, Radio Havana, Cuba as a regular. I will have Voice of Vietnam. I like to listen to 30 minutes of Voice of Vietnam. I like to listen to Ukraine and Slovakia and Prague through WRMI. Turkey is fun also. I like Radio Voice of Turkey. In a typical evening that you would sit down and listen, what do you guys listen to? What do you guys like listening to? That is my question tonight. And thanks again for the donations, everyone. So what would you be in a regular evening, the typical listening that you guys do, just for the fun of it? I'd like to know what's your, we all have, like I said, a little habit that we go through and we just, listen to. So, it's kind of nice. Mike from Belgium, Flanders says, do you find useful to navigate to SDR web receivers on the internet to cross-check frequencies broadcasting? Of course. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's I like, listening in. When I look at the schedules, for example, and I see a station that broadcasts to Europe, I'll automatically go to the University of Twente receiver and tune around via the internet to see if I can receive that station there. If or I'll see, this station I've never heard that broadcasts to Asia in English at a specific time. One station I don't hear here at all, or so weak that it's almost impossible. KNLS out of Alaska. They broadcast to Asia. And so I kind of hear it. I've never, I've heard it very weakly here, but not enough to listen to a program. So, of course, I'll go to Global Tuners. I'll tune one of the receivers in Asia to get KNLS. And a few times I've done that. And listen, I like the web receivers for the fact that I can go and tune in another country as if I was there and listen to broadcasts that I don't really, hear or will never receive over here. Another one is Voice of Mongolia. It has it's relayed in Europe. We don't hear that here, but it's relayed in Europe. I'll go on the U20 and try to listen to it when it's there. I like that. I can tell you that. Official Shortwave channel expedition pack with built-in beer cooler. Jacqueline Luhid says, years ago, shortwave stations used to send mini pennants with their call sign on it to confirm your QSL request. Try that to send to your listeners. Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing I think that it's would be interesting of all sorts. Well, Candy Clover, if your channel has radio videos, send me an email at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com and let me know. I'll be happy to, highlight it. And you'll get anywhere from like 25 to 50, 60 new subscribers. As long as the main topic of your channel, I don't mind that there's something else, but as long as the main topic of your channel is radio, that's mostly what I ask. Because, there are some that have like half and half, all sorts of weird, videos mixed into the radio stuff. And of course, hopefully, no extremist videos. Oh, man. What else do you have here? Kenny Clover saw a recent video of someone getting a KCBS pin from North Korea. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I received so many pins over the years. And, it's sad because when I was younger, I was kind of careless with all the stuff that I got. And I lost a lot of things because of my carelessness of my young age. But today I remember HCJB sending me a 10 sucre bill, a paper bill, money from Ecuador for I don't remember. There was a contest of some sort, and you would win that. I had pins of so many different stations. Look here, look at all the I put that to hide the weird stuff in back here, but I got stickers from everywhere. Voice of Free China, for example. That was Radio Taiwan, or today, that was Voice of Free China. Back in the 80s, it was called Voice of Free China. So, I've got AWR. This is another one from, this is KBS World Radio, which back then was called Radio Korea International. So here, let's take it all in here, show you guys. Might as well. So I'm just gonna see if you guys see. So these are all stickers that I got over the years. So let's start with this page. So Deutsche Welle stickers. The one over here is from Radio Norway International, Radio Netherlands. I've got Call Israel right here, a sticker. Adventist World Radio. Here is another one. So this one I believe is from, I'm not sure. Let me just check if I can. No, Voice of Free China it says. So Voice of Free China here, which is Radio Taiwan, Radio Canada International, Radio Japan sticker, Radio Prague sticker. This is, really cool, nice stuff. Radio Romania sticker. And this one here is, look at that, Radio Sweden. Radio Sweden. There's another Voice of Free China here. And there's one is Radio Korea, KBS World Radio, basically today. With that little, it's kind of cool. It's cool stuff to receive. So it's here to hide the mess that I've done. And I'm in the middle of like restructuring everything here. So, it's pretty cool, really, really nice and fun to have all of that. What else do we have here? What kind of weird stuff are you hiding? So, there's lots of stuff that I like to listen to. So let me just check it out here. Hey, Carol, nice to have you on board, my friend. A bottle with a radio opener. What else do we have here? Scotty Share 6, for me, capturing a rare pirate SSTV image is pretty cool. Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. I always listen to Fred Flintstone Music Show on 7490. Cool. That's nice. I'm a sucker for DX shows, so every time there's a DX show somewhere, I gotta listen to that. Yesterday was so cool because I turned on the Fidry and WRMI had AWR wave scan followed by World of Radio. I was in heaven. That's kind of heaven. And I was looking at my new, the Spectrum monitor. For those that wonder if there's some magazines, Spectrum monitor, a great PDF magazine that you receive by email, and it's a very nice magazine. If you're used to, if if you're wondering where monitoring times has gone, well, pretty much it's now, Spectrum monitor, same thing. Big Hoss says, "Hey Joel, feeling great? Yep, absolutely. I'm wondering if you can or have made a video of all your QSL cards." Yes, I have. If you look on my channel and you search for QSL, I have made a video of every QSL card that I've got here in my albums. And by the way, one of my albums is just there saying hello to me. And if you guys want to see a QSL from a past station that I may have, just ask. I'll see if I can find it there and show you guys. But there are many videos on my channel where I actually have shown my QSL cards. What else do we have? Bullfrog89 says, "Came across Radio Free Whatever the other day. Never heard them before." Yeah, there's they're on regularly. Radio Free Whatever. I hear them so regularly. William Helm says, "I'm a hunter mostly, no particular favorites, but I used to like football matches from the ABC Australia." Oh, nice. Yeah, the KNLS here, and they're broadcasting really like the opposite of me, so it's almost impossible to hear something. Kenny Clover says, "I don't think KVOH even transmits anymore. Can't hear nothing in LA." I've really don't tried. I haven't tried KVOH in a while. I don't know if they're still transmitting. And by the way, there was some news about that new station that would be on the air from New Mexico. Apparently, they said this month, April. But Glenn Hauser on his World Radio was mentioning how that announcement of a New Mexico station goes far back to 1992 or no 2002 or 1992, really far back, anyways. I think it's 2002 on his show. So will there be something? What does the black sign say? Recette de l'amitié. Oh yeah, that's a girlfriend of mine that gave me this at Christmas. It's recipe for friendship, and it's kind of cute. It says something like 1 pint of confidence, 2. Well, I don't see it well here, but and I would not, anyways, translate it really very, very well in English, probably. But it's a little plate. It's a metal plate that a girlfriend of mine bought and gave me at Christmas. So she's a friend of mine that we got to school together when we were young. And we're still we're still friends today. David in Barcelona says, "I almost always start with CRI, China Radio International, when I fire up my radios. That or the pirate bands on the weekends. After that, I either scan the broadcast band or I QSY to the ham bands." Cool. iMapper says, "It's almost impossible to avoid CRI. They are everywhere." Yeah, they're kind of everywhere, for sure. Colin Murray says, "Something faint in the UK on 5897. Let's check it out here if we hear something on 5897. Man, my noise is so high here. It's incredible. What else do we have here? Yeah, HCJB, I know. Brett Wayne. Oh yeah, I got tons of QSL videos. Let's just okay. Yeah, Brett Wayne. I do miss HCJB. You know, HCJB when I was young was my Saturday night lineup. I just put it on 15155 or 9745, and I would just listen to the DX Party Line, what was it? The musical Mailbag. That was my lineup for a Saturday night. And I actually liked so much how HCJB, even though it was a religious station at the base, it was not a shove Jesus in your face station. We're going to talk about it in between different shows that they did, and man, that broadcaster was great. Boy, I love HCJB so much. It's probably one of the stations I miss the most on shortwave. And by the way, they're still on in Spanish on 6050. I hear them from time to time in the evening, direct from Quito, Ecuador, with Spanish broadcasts. Danny Shortwave says, here locally, it's mostly Spanish shortwave stations like Cuban stations, medium wave stations, and of course I listen to a lot on my scanner of the police, fire, emergency services here in New York City. Okay, cool. Pretty cool. iMapper says, if there's no Radio New Zealand International, I tune to the BBC or to Russian services of Radio Romania, Voice of Vietnam, and so on. Europe DX says, I missed KBC to Europe on Sundays. I used to wake up some 50s music with strong signal. Candy Clover, yes. North Korea does have numbers. They have a few number stations, and there was talk of how they were using their regular, Voice of Korea broadcasts to try to basically send people, send agents all sorts of messages, basically. So, hey, Max Dennis, nice to have you on board. Yes, thank you very much for a nice comment here. When does Radio Chains come on? Keith Gottwald. What do you mean by Radio Chains? Willie Trouble 88. What is the weirdest transmission I've ever received? There's a lot of weird stuff, I can tell you that, on shortwave. All sorts of weird whistles and sounds that you're like, what the hell? I remember as a teenager listening to some weird noises and almost thinking they were almost, extraterrestrial in nature. I remember one evening being alone. I was about 14 years old. I was alone at home, and it was dark, and I was listening to a really spooky sound on shortwave, and it was so spooky, in fact, that I turned on the lights because I was just scared as hell of listening to the spooky sounds of whatever it was that I was receiving on shortwave. So I can tell you that. And apart from that, there's a lot of unusual stuff. I always talk about the few things that are just amazing. Like, for example, I remember one evening listening to, there's a local 2 meter net on Sunday nights here that talk about shortwave. And I remember one evening somebody dropped in the net and said, "Hey, there's something happening on the maritime frequencies." And we started listening, and there was a boat that caught fire just on the east coast in the Atlantic Ocean. And we started listening, and we heard the rescue team and everything, and it almost was like you were on that boat. It was so intense. One also that I talk about is last summer when I heard, at Perry Island, the expedition, by chance, I stumbled across one of the higher frequencies of the aeronautical frequencies, and you hear planes, and somebody was on board suffering a heart attack. And you heard they kind of had a doctor go through the communications and ask if the patient, what the patient, how he felt and how he was, and instructing the people on board on how to react, what to do, lie the guy down and everything. You're live into something that's happening that's intense, and you're just right there in the middle. It's like, wow. So there's so many things, and that's why I love shortwave. It's because there's always something that's gonna amaze you. That time I was doing the tuning the bands, and we heard Iqaluit weather up north here in Nunavut. I was like, wow, this is so cool. The time we were listening to that station from St. Helena in the South Atlantic Ocean, or that Norwegian guy, it says, you know what? I'm still today, when I hear a signal on that radio or on any radio that I've never heard before, I am my little 14, 13-year-old kid that is amazed at what he's listening on his radio. It's as simple as that. And some of you have noticed that when I received these stations, how I was all happy of, wow, I'm receiving Iqaluit. First time, I've never heard that before. It's just so cool. Big Hoss says, Shell, did local radio stations sign off for the night back in the days? I know TV would shut down transmitters during the night. Yes. I even remember stations. There was one on 1040 kilohertz, which back then was a frequency where at sundown, the station was allowed only from sunrise to sunset. And I would remember tuning in at sunset and hearing the station sign off because they weren't allowed at night. But most of the medium wave and FM stations here in Montreal, most of them were pretty much 24 hours. Local CBC, when I was young, the CBC was not a 24-hour thing. The CBC would shut down like at midnight or something like that, 1 a.m. And they would shut down. Not like today. Today's everything is 24 hours. It's not the same thing. Big Hot says, I know that shortwave stations only are on when propagation is good, where the target audience is located. Yes, and you know what's sad is that some stations have absolutely no idea how to choose their frequencies. I always give the example of KBS World Radio. They just don't understand that 15575, yeah, smack in the middle of June or July, propagates to Montreal or North America. In January, it doesn't. And, they still, you're wasting, hundreds of kilowatts of power for nothing when you're doing that. And, at some point when they say, oh, well, it's kind of expensive and blah, 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 it's like, oh, please, I can tell you that. It's like you're the guy that decides the frequencies for you is just bad, I can tell you that. So, what else do we have here? GK Seifert says, shortwave beer from Phillips Brewing via email. Yes, the shortwave is available. We sell it in tall cans, 473 milliliters, and 6-pack bottles. So it isn't retired after all. I will try to get some for you and for me too. I greatly appreciate it. Remember my email, officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com, or through the YouTube channel, send me a private message. I really want to have, if I can have a 6-pack bottles, I'd love it, man. Matthew K says, just been watching the ISS going over very clear nights. Didn't hear any broadcast on 145.800 though. Yeah, you could try the 145.825. It's a packet BBS that they have on board. So you'll hear bursts of data. And if you hear the bursts of data, you know that it's there. And you should hear something. What else do we have here? Richard Cook says, propagation changing very quickly tonight. David says, well, feeling bad for everything I missed. 7, 8 years ago when I got my radio bug, most of those stations were gone already. I managed to listen to Voice of Russia for 2, 3 years. Well, I can tell you that you missed. If there's one thing, I hate, getting older. It's like I got 48. I just had 48 years old 2 weeks ago. I was 48 years old now, and one of the things that I'll say is I hate it. I hate getting old, and I think everybody is like that. Pretty much everybody is like that. But one of the things that I got to say here is I'm so happy to have seen the glory days of shortwave in the 80s with all these stations. Back then, receiving a station was hard not because of propagation. It was hard because there were so many stations jam-packed together that you had to find that station in the middle of a gazillion other stations. And that was the difficulty. And I remember back then finding it so sad that I couldn't hear my favorite station because of another one next to it that would interfere. Well, you know what? I take that any day now compared to what shortwave is today. And anyone that lived through that, the 70s and the 80s and the 60s of shortwave radio, man, we've got these memories that are amazing of what it looked like back then. Carl Sanson says, Spectrum Monitor, great magazine. I agree. Yes. If you really like radio stuff, Spectrum Monitor, amazing magazine. You can subscribe to their yearly. There's a yearly subscription. Carol says, I've heard KVOH in the past, though I've not listened to them lately. My Kenwood 830, where did I get my large digital clock on my desk? And you, of course, everybody should know that I'm very, very far in the chat. So if you have a question, just be patient. I'm getting there. That clock is, it was simply at a, here Radio Shack became the source by Circuit City, then the source only. And they had this clock. And when I went through, I looked at the clock and I said, man, I got to have this clock. It's just so cool. I like clock with big numbers. And I thought it was kind of cool. So I bought it at, I thought it was expensive. And one day I went through and it was on sale. And I think I paid like $20 for it. And you know what? I love this clock. And it's cool because thanks to the big numbers, it's easy to put here. And just leave it there in the live shows so that you guys can easily see what time it is and everything. So just love that. So I got this at the source basically, which was Radio Shack before for us here in Canada. What else do we have? Hey there, Casper. Nice to have you on board. Radio Zip says, I only got the glory of shortwaves in the 90s. Still way more broadcasters than today. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There were still in the 90s a lot of broadcasters left. Mike from Belgium, Flanders says, thanks for your channel and live shows. I share a similar enthusiasm. And for the spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum in radios. And I remember the 80s. Good night from Europe. Take care. It's nice to have you on board. Always fun to have everybody here. Everybody from different countries around the world is just so cool. Just so cool. Do you have any tape recordings of those old stations? You know what? I got a box full of tapes, and I believe there are some recordings in there. I need to go through and with my boombox, I go through the different. If I do have shortwave broadcasts, I will make videos and post the audio on a YouTube video somehow. But if you guys go on YouTube, there's a lot of recordings. Not as much as I'd like, but there's a lot of recordings of old shortwave broadcasts still around. Jerry, is my radio grounded? That can eliminate? Yes, it is. And personally here, grounded or not, doesn't make a difference. It's really, local noise is just what? Amazing, amazing. What else do we have here? Richard Cook's receiving the BBC on 5890. Jerry says, I heard some satellite amateurs from Scotland the other day on 145.600. Have you ever heard this? That's weird. Wide FM? I've never heard anything in wide FM from satellite amateurs. That's weird. That's weird. M4.2 solar flare right now. And HF is being disrupted. That's possible. There's a huge sunspot right now in the sun, right smack in the middle of the sun. It grew from almost nothing about 2 days ago to this huge sunspot. So it's possible that there's some absorption due to a solar flare. Let's check it out here a little bit. Something special here. 15610 WEWN that I'm receiving. Anybody receiving anything special right now? Did you hear the audio I sent you about yes, I did, Jerry. I always take a look at the stuff that you send me. Pretty amazing stuff. Carol T, what the hell do you want? Sorry for the phone here. Carol T, I just am now starting to hear WWV. Yeah, when there's these solar flares, there's always a period of time where there's like there's really real strong absorption, and every station on the band disappears. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Andrea DXer says 7050 and 7055 Russian and Ukrainian hams having a go at each other. A lot of weird stuff. Heard it's still going on today. Yeah, there's always a lot of stuff. Lots of weird stuff. Radio Zip says radio conditions pretty rough this evening. Only getting WWV on 15 megahertz. I'm just hearing the WWV. I caught WWV on 25 megahertz many times at Candy Clover. So pretty amazing. There's quite a few frequencies of nut jobs on the amateur bands, can tell you that. Bobby Beretta, hello there. Good afternoon. Nice to have you on board. Really, really nice. iMapper says, yep, 7050 and 7055. A real zoo. David says, have you ever heard the backwards music signal? Sounds like a badly broken microphone. Really annoying to hear and really spooky. Yes, I did. It seems like distorted voice that's later encrypted. Oh yeah, I've heard that. That's so creepy. It's like, whoa. It's just amazing. Amazing. You turn off the lights and you put that, and I can tell you, I don't think you'll, be more than 5 or 10 minutes without turning the lights back on, because it's just really spooky. So, yeah, Timo93 says many AM stations are now on FM translators, so even former daytime AM stations are 24/7. Yep. Hey, Space Lobster. I remember the sign off with television. Nothing like waking up to 3 a.m. with loud screech and rainbow stripes. You remember the Indian? Here we had the Indian. The Indian with the different focus on the corners and everything, so that they could kind of align everything. It was like a test pattern, but the Indian picture on TV, that was just amazing. GK Sifford says, I miss Radio Netherlands as well as HCJB. They used to be on all bands in the late 50s in Northern Ohio. Now gone. Yep. I remember Radio Netherlands was so cool. You could write in and say, hey, I want to buy a Sony 2010. And you know what? They actually had um, a they actually had a sorry, I'm just gonna answer now. I know why the phone's been ringing. Okay, so they had, they would send you these little booklets of, they had like reviews of every shortwave radio, almost the most popular ones. They had real nice booklets. Radio Netherlands has so many nice booklets of shortwave propagation, how it was working, everything. Trying to understand how everything works. It was just so cool. Man, there's so many nice things. I remember Radio Austria sending me a very big orange envelope, and inside a thick, it was just a bunch of pages that were just put together, and it was really thick, and it was all the antenna that they had there in Austria, the shortwave antennas, the different parameters, and all the technical specs. That was just so cool. Some stations would send so many things. HCJB was so cool with its sets of QSLs. Every year they had a theme for the QSL cards, and every 2 months you'd have a QSL, different QSL. So you had like 6 QSLs a year, and they were telling you, hey, write in if you want to have the full series of QSLs. And I remember when I started listening to shortwave, the first series of QSL for HCJB that I asked for was on telecommunications. So amazing. I'm so happy to have been alive with these times. It was just amazing. Oh man, I listened to that a lot. Mark Brando says, I enjoyed listening to the ship-to-shore telephone SSB calls back in the day, especially parents calling back home when the kids having a wild party in the background. Oh my God, I listened to the phone patches so many times. That was one of the cool things you could listen back then. Because back in the 80s, I remember a ship making a phone call to shore were going through the shortwave bands. So you could listen to the maritime bands and you'd hear tons of conversations in all sorts of languages. And then you'd fall on one in, for me, French or English. And I'd just follow the conversation. It was so cool. That was cool. That was cool. I got to say, that was really, really, really cool. Man, that was cool. That was cool. What else do we have? Let me check around here. Sorry, I'm just going around a little bit. I'm far back. What do we have here? My mapper says radio broadcasting from the West was the only available source of information for us Russian citizens, and I kind of missing those days. Talking about shortwave. Yep, true. That's true. Oh yeah, there is. Of course, I've checked that many times, David. The shortwave radio audio archive. There's tons of historic recordings there. You are right. I've gone there so many times. So many times. So many times. I remember walking. Hey there, Southern Illinois, San. I remember back in the 80s, you could enter into any electronics store and they all had shortwave receivers. If not many models, they all had at least one. I can tell you that. Nope, that's not the phone they're using for my tech duties, so it's surely not a tech call. The tech calls go through my cell phone, not through my home phone. Carl, what the hell do you want now? What else do we have here? Carol says WWVH beating out WWV on 15. I was hearing both this afternoon, early afternoon. I was hearing both WWV and WWVH. And thank you once more to the donator that just sent me a little PayPal donation. It's really, really nice to have everybody support me like this. Thank you, everyone. It's really, really cool. Really cool. So what else do we have here? Durhan Radio and Whitby is a good storage try also. Oh man. Oh, I gotta say, if you got Chinese shops, of course they must have tons of little shortwave radios. Well, here there's a new category of stores that appear that are like cheap electronic junk stores. I would call it like that, owned by they're all owned here by foreign people. Like there's one here close to me, which is I think the guy's is from Sri Lanka. And they have like junk electronics in there and tons of things. And it's like, it's not even well placed. It's like everything is like thrown in and just look at the junk and see what there's there. I gotta say, every time I went there, there was always at least one shortwave radio. But most of the time were the crappy shortwave radio. I can tell you that. What else do we have here? Matter Extra says Radio Netherlands had the creepiest interval signal. Kenny Clover says saw a K8228 at a Chinese shop in LA. Now I remember. They're $10. Wow. Colin Murray, Spectrum Monitor, I gotta say, does focus a lot on North America, yes, but it's still worth getting even if you're somewhere else in the world because of the articles that talk about all sorts of things. For example, a few months ago they had a fantastic article on Kodar, these chirps every second that we hear on the bands that are radars, and they have articles that talk about different things that are very, very nice. So I think last month was radars. They had different types of radars where they were in the world and the sounds that they had, so that you can listen to it through the shortwave, through the internet. So even though there is kind of a focus a little more on North America stuff, it's still worth really getting there. I got to tell you that. I'm Apple. It will be interesting to listen to jingles of different stations in one of your shows. What do you think? Jingles and short summary of each stations. Yeah, that could be very interesting. One thing that I would like, actually, I was thinking of doing a little segment on a gone shortwave station. Make you guys hear the interval signal. Talk about what broadcaster they were, and so on. For example, Radio RSA, which was any of you that listened to the shortwave bands in the 80s know Radio RSA, which is what today we call Channel Africa. But back then, they had a North American service. In the evening, you could listen to South Africa every evening at 0200. If I remember well, I think I even remember it's on 9615 was one of the frequencies they used. And I was thinking it'd be cool to do like a little segment on let's go back in time and talk about a shortwave station that was gone. Make you guys, I'll put the interval signal, and if I have a little part of their broadcast from back then, I think that could be cool. I think that could be really cool. Edvaldo Lemes, hello there. Nice to have you on board. Joe Palou says in the 80s you could pick up mobile radio calls. Yep, absolutely. I remember, on the Pro 2006 here doing the the little clip of the diode to listen to the different cell phone calls. So pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So hey, Randall Ramsey, hello there. Nice to have you on board. And yes, happy shortwave listening, everyone. Pretty cool. What else do we have here? Trying to not miss out on anything, guys. If I've missed out on one of your questions, please just ask me again. It's because not because I don't want to answer any questions. It's just because I probably missed your question while you were actually asking. So this is the Shortwave radio show you're watching. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We're having a lot of fun talking about shortwave radio, a lot of stuff, and just having fun. Take care, Matt, in the UK. It was nice to have you on board. And we're 2 hours and a half into the show. It's pretty cool. We've listened to Spain amateur radio guy. We've listened to different signals. We're talking about shortwave. And we're having a lot of fun on this Saturday evening. Hope you guys enjoy the show. And thanks to everyone that has given donations during the show. Very much appreciated. You guys have no idea how this helps me a lot. And you know what? I'd be more than happy to, even do more radio shows. That I can tell you. Okay. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah, Saint Lis Radio. I remember that F4GVE. I remember one time, maybe, I'd say 10 years ago, getting on 17260 and hearing Saint Lis Radio and IDing and saying they were kind of, maritime station from France and all of that. That was kind of cool. Captain Ron says, I used to make those ship-to-shore calls, get my friends to meet me in some seaside bar on the West Coast. Yes, there is a radio teletype contest this weekend. Let's just go to 14080. Yep, lots of radio teletype signals. There's a lot of there's a contest when the usual band that usually the radio teletype signals on the 20-meter band, they go from 14080 to 14100 and they stay in that little spot. And then one morning you wake up and there's like radio teletype signals like this one from like 14070 all the way up to 14140, and you're like, okay, they're kind of very large now. There must be a contest. It's just funny. Yep, Kenny Clover, a lot of the boomboxes in the 80s had shortwave. I remember, a story that's really cool is I used to go up north with a friend of the family, and it used to be the place where my dad actually had built when I was young. And that place is amazing for DXing because there's no electricity, and the nearest neighbor is about 1.5 kilometers away. So it's like there's no noise there. And for astronomy, it's fantastic. The most beautiful sky I've ever seen anywhere. So at some point, there's a friend of the family that bought the shack over there. And he would go there every weekend, but he always, found it kind of like boring to go alone. So every weekend he would like call me up and say, "Hey, you want to go up north? Because I don't want to go alone. It's kind of boring." And it's like we'll have a few beers and have fun and make a fire and everything. And it's like, yeah, of course. I would always say yes because it's like I just love the place. And we'd go up north, and that guy is I would kind of qualify that guy as a very good drinker. So of course he had a very good drink partner, and so we'd go up north, we'd buy some beer, and we just have a lot of fun, just sitting down, chilling, with the fire and everything. And he had this really big boombox that, like, I don't know how many watts that thing was, but, the guy loved music. So it's like we would go up there and he would like have music playing all night. So, but many times I'd go up because he'd call me up and say, "Hey, I'm not going to the shack this weekend, but I'm going to some friends that are in the same area." So he was calling me up sometimes and saying, if you want to have a lift, I'll drop you at the shack and I'll pick you up on Sunday night when I come back. So I was alone, and of course that boombox, he would leave it there all the time. And I remember it was plugged because it was 12-volt entry, and it was always plugged on this car battery, a used car battery that didn't work for a car because it was used, but worked really fine for his boombox. So we would actually, he'd leave me there. And of course, one of the things, the weekends I was with him, I couldn't listen to Shortwave because he was like blasting his music and we would drink, But when he wasn't there, I was like, okay, let's see if this boombox receives shortwave correctly. And I remember being really just back then I had a 6-inch telescope, 6-inch mirror telescope, and I do a lot of astronomy. So I love it because what I do is I set up the telescope outside, watch the skies, and I tune around this boombox and put it on shortwave stations. And I remember one evening very clearly where I was listening to the DX Party Line show on HCJB on his boombox while doing astronomy. And I remember just thinking of, you know what? I'm really in heaven. This is like the best moment in my life. Almost. It was just so amazing. So amazingly cool. I can tell you that. The Exerolic. Man Radio, the Exer. The Exerolic. Oh, man. Hey, Ernie Turner. Hello there. VK3DET. 8:25 in the morning, Sunday. 8:35 now, because I'm 10 minutes early. In Southern Australia. Yeah, you guys are heading slowly into winter. Here we had a April's Fool joke from Mother Nature. We had like 3 inches of snow today, which is not unusual, but it's like every Canadian will tell you, okay, can the snow stop, please? Now we got enough for this summer, for this winter. JST 300, bonjour. Nice to have you on board. Yeah, it's like I always say, better late than never. So, man, the hexaholic. Yeah, well, that's also one thing. The hexaholic, too much DX. 14101.1 USB. Let's check it out. 14101.1 USB. Ain't hearing anything right now. We'll leave it there in the background if I hear something. Oh, really? Danny Shortwave says but Phil, look, Danny Shortwave, since you are one of the trusted, I'm giving you moderator status, and you'll be able to post a link now, Danny Shortwave. So we'll do a few. You know what? I think it's time to add a few more moderators to the chat. So it was kind of cool though. No, I've never considered GoFundMe. I wasn't even aware of this GoFundMe for New Radio. One thing that I was thinking is to do there's this a website where everybody wants to have funds for different projects. And I'm trying to remember what that damn website is. But I was thinking maybe it could be fun to do a Kickstarter. Sorry, Kickstarter. And one of the things that came up to me was, how about a Kickstarter for shortwave broadcasting? A Kickstarter of let's revive shortwave and do some radio shows. I think that could be nice. But I GoFundMe, I have no idea that of that website. So what else do we have here? Hey, Scott George, nice to have you here. I have an old school Radio Shack mid-80s multi-radio boombox. It was laughed at in the books. I got Hair, CB Fire, Public Works, Excellent Radio. Now, these were fun. I mean, these were so much fun. I can tell you that. Yes, Candy Clover. The best, imagine the best sky you've ever seen. You know when they tell you, oh, you got to be in a really dark environment to see that object? Well, that place was that. I could see everything that they were telling me that you can watch because it was the perfect sky. You know, the real sky that when you look at it, you feel like so small suddenly because there's so many stars. Plus, the best shortwave reception ever, zero noise. I mean, Evan, that was Evan, I can tell you that. Danny Shortwave Radio DX, telescopes and shortwave, that is heaven. Yes, absolutely. You know, I remember being there and thinking, look, man, enjoy this moment because you're in heaven. It won't last forever. And you are at the place for that. Man. Yeah, you know, shortwave, you know, well, you know, okay, let's, first of all, X80Xer, hello there. Good afternoon, Kean, from Northwest Arkansas. Sunny and 77, wow. Here this week, you know, today we had snow, but this week's supposed to be in the 50s, quite easily in the 50s. We're going to start having better weather here now. I can't wait for my first expedition to Perry Island, I can tell you that. You know what, Scott George, there's a lot of young radio listeners in what we do here. And the thing is, you know what? Just remember one thing. Even when shortwave was more popular, pretty much all of us were weird guys. You know, weird guys listening to noise. I remember my brother telling me, oh, you're listening to your noise box. He was always telling me that. So, oh, you're listening to your noise box? It's like, you know, already then we were kind of apart from everyone. So imagine today. SG1 East Nebraska says solar flux is 101. That's not been high like that in a long time. The solar flux is 101. So you guys, you know what? If the K index drops down a little bit, listen to the higher frequencies. I can tell you that. Yeah, Michael Bott, exactly. Nice to have you, by the way. Solar flux has not been over 100 in a little while now. So it's really cool. And enjoy while it lasts because, I mean, this is going to drop fast once that sunspot goes away. We're in the downturn, I can tell you that. A couple of years ago, we had snow in Toronto on April 20th. Yeah, that I remember we had in high school, we had kind of like Olympics on 1st of May. And I remember one day, 1st of May, we woke up and it was all white on the ground. It was like, what the hell, snow on May the 1st? That's more exceptional for us, I can tell you that. Can tell you that. Yeah, go fund me now. I want to have a well broke. I'm going to start by a well broke, I can tell you that. So yeah, Kickstarter. I don't know if it would work. I'd like that. Kickstarter for a shortwave radio show. And all the money will go into having a shortwave broadcast. That could be cool. Yes, there is anybody that has a very clear sky, and if you have a telescope or even a pair of binoculars, there's a comet tonight It's the closest approach of that comet. It's a comet that's just very, very close to the Big Dipper. And here the sky is cloudy because I wanted to try it. Hey, Oxford Shortwave Vlog, nice to have you here. Yep, everything in moderation. David says the family home we have in northeast Spanish countryside is pretty close to your description of that shag show. The night sky is breathtaking there as well. Staring at it with shortwave in the background. It's just amazing. Always leaves you with your mouth wide open. Yep. Hey David, giving you a moderator status also. A few people are going to add a few moderators, and just in case some stupid idiot gets in the... No, not for a shortwave radio station, Carol, because it costs too much money. It's more of a Kickstarter for funding shortwave broadcasts for the long run. You know, a Kickstarter project where you can, I could do some shortwave shows via WBCQ, WRMI. Not really starting a here. It's impossible to do a shortwave station here. It's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars just for the permits and then get the antennas and the stuff. You know, more of a shortwave radio show kind of thing. No, well, with an ordinary pair, if you have very close, you know, Scotty, the moons of Jupiter, the four biggest moons are quite easy to see. And if I'm not mistaken, a pair of binoculars, there's just a little bit missing for that to happen. Let me think about it, but I do think you need at least, you know, you don't need a big telescope, a really small telescope. Voice of Turkey on 9830, yes, probably 9830. Wow, nothing here, nothing here. But yes, at this time, 2200, Voice of Turkey, usually on 9830, Richard. But it's so amazing when you look at Jupiter's moons, and you look an hour or two later, and they're already moved. It's just amazing. Just amazing. Yeah, I'm at Radio DXer, of course. You know, you can listen to stations everywhere. No, I still didn't get the Ernie in the bathtub, J. Watterson 69. I did find one, but it was too expensive. You know, $70 for Ernie in the bathtub is too expensive. I am regularly looking, though. So if I do find it in a okay price that I want to pay, I will get Ernie in the bathtub. I can tell you that. Yeah, that's what I'd like on WRMI. That WRMI has such a great coverage on through North America. So, you know, maybe that could be fun. Thank you, Oxford Shortwave Vlog. Always nice to have you here. But if you guys have a clear sky and have a pair of binoculars, it's not visible to the naked eye, but a pair of binoculars, there is a comet that is very close to the Big Dipper tonight. Go to spaceweather.com. Spaceweather.com. They talk about it, and they have a map where they're going to show you where the comet is in the sky relative to the Big Dipper. And a pair of binoculars is apparently enough to see it. It's a little greenish. So, oh, absolutely, Scott George. You know what? I've got, look at that. I've got this weather station here. I've got this weather station. I don't know if you guys can see it. So this is a weather station I've got with sensors in the back. I've got another weather station in the back in the kitchen. So I've got two sensors, and I just, that's also part of my fun. Having a weather station and checking out the different parameters and everything. Richard Intentless says 9830 S4 to S5. SG2 Eastern Nebraska says nothing on 9830. So really not super good. Gilles, can you check to see if you are on 5150 tonight? Let's check out 5150 kilohertz. Do I hear something? And there's nothing there. I don't even hear a peep of a signal, so I'm not sure. They don't seem to be on the air. Vianney Arsenault says, tell me, the most popular mode for you on shortwave is AM? No. Well, it depends on what you want to listen to. On shortwave, okay, if you're in the international broadcast band, AM will be the mode. But if I get out of the international broadcast band, I'm almost always in sideband. So either in upper sideband most of the time. And also for tuning around and finding very faint signals, upper sideband or single sideband is really good for that. But I'd say that probably out of the international broadcast band, upper sideband is probably my favorite band, my favorite mode, except in the lower amateur bands, 7 megahertz, 3 megahertz. I'll be in lower sideband for that, but I can tell you. WBCQ is apparently building another antenna tower, Brett Wayne, by the way. It seems they're getting enough funding for that. Yeah, your 10X. Let me just check it out here because I lost that little post. Okay, just back. Okay, so I'm just coming, guys. Yeah, Scotty here. 6 your 10X Bushnell binoculars can see the 4 moons. Cool. It's possible. No problem, David. I'm happy. A news station in Morse code. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, William. Yes, the SpaceX rockets. They've used the refurbished rocket that that came back. That's cool. That's pretty cool also. Razor Zip says, I've heard ham comms in USB in the lower bands. It's not a requirement, but a norm. You know what? I've heard, I believe around 3600 kilohertz. There's some Canadian hams that are in upper sideband on the 80 meter band. But technically, most of the hams follow the norm. I can tell you that. Oh, really? 2666 on eBay? I'm gonna have to try it to check it out. Do you have the link, Scotty? I'm gonna get it. At 26 bucks. The shipping is reasonable, I hope. The shipping is the problem most of the time. A radio emoticon. I didn't even know there was a radio emoticon. So sad, Brad Wayne. With a 4-inch, if you have a reasonable sky, you'd see the comment. Yeah, but the shipping for the Ernie radio is often too expensive. That's the biggest downer for me. Yeah, it's 20 bucks plus 26. Okay, 26.66. Yeah. And shipping is 20 bucks. That makes $47 for the Ernie radio in the bathtub. Okay. What does it look like? Is it yellowed out because the guy used it? 70s. Okay, works. Yeah. I'm going to continue checking out because I've seen some brand new in their boxes, and I'd prefer one like that that's like never been opened or something. But, you know, it's tempting. Man, I can't believe I had one of those radios. Wow, when I was young. Yeah, the emoji. Yes, emojis. Radio emojis. Oh, John Young, you know what? I'll be happy. If I do a Kickstarter and raise enough money, I'm taking all the spots of Brother Stare, and all you'll hear is shortwave radio stuff all the time. But that'd be a new religion. Now that I've bumped Brother Stare off of every frequency, we're going to talk shortwave. Let's get serious. Let's get serious. I can tell you that. Yeah, Halley's Comet's next appearance will probably be when I will be dead. No, I'm not. I haven't heard at all that China Radio wants to shut down. At all. Yeah, and 61, I'll be 98 years old. No, 91 years old. But I'll be. Wait, I'm lost here. Okay, yeah, I'll be 169, so it's 8 years earlier. I'll be 9 years earlier. No, 8 years earlier. So I'll be 92 years old. I'm not sure I'm going to be here at 92. Can tell you that. Brandy Handle 03, hello there. I've just recently received my package of the RTL SDR USB dongle and love it. I've been using it usually on a regular basis. Been listening to this frequency 146153. It's 2 meters. Cool. These are fun to play with, the RTL SDR dongles. These are fun, really fun. Yeah, it's always a little scary. Carol T says, I would love a news station in a decently speedy digital mode like MFSK32. Oh yeah, that could be cool. Well, you know what? Maybe I should start a kickstart thing and do shortwave broadcasts in analog and digital modes. Since, you know, like they're doing like MFSK32 through AM transmitters, that could be fun. And why not? We'll put like, you know, a news service every day in MFSK32 or something. That could be fun. That would be really, really fun. Jerry says, Ernie is $199 plus tax plus $79.99 for shipping. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can tell you that. Oh, absolutely. I'll still be tuning the bands on 92. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. I don't know what's going to be there still. There are going to be some AM radio operators, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. I don't know. That's for sure. So, you're listening to the Shortwave Show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And we are, of course, you know, having fun, talking about radio, and we're having a lot of cool moments talking about astronomy, about everything, just having fun. I want to thank everybody that has given me some donations today. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Helps, really helps. Yeah, let's do tuning the bands on the moon. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. So we're getting at 2300 hours UTC. So of course, let's check out here anything special. Let's check the 20-meter band a little bit, see if there's something on. Anybody listening to something special? Not a lot of signals right here. There's a Foxtrot 5 station, a French station, 14257. Oh, Fox Germany number 5. There's a Fox Germany number 5 right now. So interesting. 14257. Fox Germany number 5 right now.
Correct, Fox Germany number 5, George Pacific. My name is Alan Alpha, Lima Alpha India November, and I'm located to Guadeloupe to Caribbean.
He's in a Guadeloupe. FG5 station from Guadeloupe on 14257. Not too bad. This is an okay signal. Guadeloupe 14257. Matt Radio the Xer says his head is always on the moon, so he's always under space anyway. Yeah, pretty much the same for me. You know, I do something sometime and it's like, okay, I just remember nothing about it after 30 minutes and I'm like, man, I'm always like somewhere else. Mr. Streetman 1970, hello there. What else do we have here? Jerry says, I would give you some donations, but my wife went crazy with my credit card the other day. Don't worry about it, Jerry. You know, I understand that not everybody has money for anything. You know, it's okay. I mean, you know, it's not. There's no pressure there. You can give, you can give, you can give, you can give. So then that's okay. 6950 upper sideman, a pirate, Scotty tier 6.
America, India, November, and the QTH is Guadeloupe to Caribbean, and the report is very nice copy now, and 5 and 7 and 8. 5, 7, 5, 8.
So let's check it out. Anything on 6950? Nothing here in Montreal on 6950. And remember, guys, it's Weekend Global Pirate Weekend, and anywhere from 15010 to 15100 and 25450 to 25550, something like that. You guys can listen to Pirate Station this weekend. I was hearing Cupid Radio today around 1530 UT. On 15074.6 from the Netherlands. It was very weak, but I could hear the music. It was very, very nice. And we have Guadeloupe on 14257 upper sideband right now.
Okay, good afternoon. Okay, Masa W4/Japan Echo 1 LET, and a very nice copy today at the Fox Control 5.
Really, Richard in Atlanta says Radio Taiwan International on 9900 in Chinese. I've got absolutely nothing here. There's a carrier, but I'm not hearing anything here on 9900. But could be possible, Richard. Carol says nothing on the West Coast. Jerry says 20 meters supposed to be good tonight. You know, solar flex above 100. Lots of interesting stuff could be there to listen to. Jerry says 6950 S9. Wow. Jose Mariano Blasco. Hello there. Greetings from Argentina. LU6GB. Joe. Nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. And we are located in Montreal, Canada. Thomas Brogan, hello there. Welcome aboard. Oh, FG5GP. Adrien F4GB says worked him many times. Cool. It's got a great signal from Guadeloupe. Yes, Gilles dans la Lune, Jerry. Absolutely. I can tell you that. Absolutely. Carol says there's a strong ham on 14190. Let's check it out. I hear something on 14190. Right now, nothing. WBCQ Radio Zip says WBCQ 7490 strong plus 20. SG2 East Nebraska says 7490 was S8 plus or so. Let's check out if I hear WBCQ. Nothing here. Which is typical. Which is very typical for my location. But it's strong on 5130 kilohertz for me. 5130 kilohertz WBCQ. Pretty good signal there. So really nice. What else do we have here? Go down on 7195 and I'll try to send you a signal, Bullfrog 89. Let's tune in 7195 lower sideband and see if we hear anything. GU Super Radio is pretty cool. I can tell you that. So I want to purchase a Kenwood TS990S. One antenna could be the best to receive faraway signals such as buzzer and other stuff from other countries. It all depends on your area. You know what? You can, you know, wire antennas, long wire antennas are pretty cool. And here is the return of the cat. The return of the cat. Hello, Mr. Cat. How are you, my little friend? Wait, you're just... Okay, here we go. That's better. Here we go. So Mr. Cat is here. Once again. You guys want to see DX a little more? Here we go. DX the cat saying, hey. Nice little cat here. So, you know, wire antennas are good. Of course, if you just want to listen, because it depends what you want to do. If you want to transmit, you got to be more careful because it has the match. You have to match your antenna with, you know, what you're going to do. Unless you want to, if you don't want to, you know, make this, make the transmitter go bad. Hey, Kurt Rowlett, nice to have you on board. Yes, 20 meters, very open. Hey, solar flux is 101. That we haven't had such a high solar flux in such a long time. So I can tell you that. David says, good antenna, bazooka dipole for receiving and transmitting. Diamond Dave on 6950, Jerry says. So we've been on for 3 hours now. 3 hours and 7 minutes. That's a fine kitty cat. Yes, it is. It is. Yes, DX is a fantastic shack cat. I can tell you that. That's all Joseph 74. And it's really, really nice. So apart from that, you know, he likes to just sleep there just below the radio, and it's like, he just lets me tune around, and Ernie Turner, hello there. How do you say cat in French? Chat. A cat is un chat. No, chat is a female cat, Scotty. Chat is a female cat. A male cat like him is chat. So and now is DX, or really wants to, be comfy. Oh, really? You worked 14257, Brett Wayne. Really cool. Really cool. Yeah, I should start your pirate show now. That would be. I gotta say one thing. If I had a transmitter, I have a lot. I couldn't resist doing a pirate station, I can tell you that. Yes, DX is huge. He's heating too much, I can tell you that. Maudit chat. Yes. I can't say that to DX. Hey, yesterday was such a sad moment. He crossed the street and almost got run over by a car. You bad cat. I don't want you to cross the street anymore. Hey, take care, Danny. Shortwave Radio DX. Always nice to have you on board. I can tell you that. A male cat like him is cat. Scott George says, like your cat, it just got one. Her name is Clover. Is my roommate friend. Yeah. You get attached to these so much. I can tell you that. I couldn't, I was telling a friend of mine that the day that this cat dies, I'm gonna cry all day. I'm sure I'm gonna cry. It's like, man, I'm gonna lose my friend. I can tell you that. So this is the Shortwave Show you're watching with our co-host, Mr. Paul the Cat. And so my name is Gilles. We're located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. 3 hours and 10 minutes and counting. And anybody have anything they want to add to the show tonight? Hey, Matt Henderson, hello there. Nice to have you here. Radio Zip says, usually my cat waits to take the radio chair when I get up. Oh, cats do that all the time. I get up my computer chair because I'm working, and the cat's on the chair, so I have to sit on another chair because, of course, the cat's in the chair. Or he gets on me like this at the time that I need to get up for some reason. It's like there's never a, of course, Jerry, DX is the mascot. William is listening to some air traffic control stuff, 8918. Let's check it out. Must be some stuff here. 8.918 upper sideband. Usually we hear some conversations there for sure. Jerry says 6950 upper sideband going strong. So wow, pretty amazing. So hello there, the official president of the Flat Earth. Nice to have you on board. And what else do we have here? Let's just check. Yep, DX is the man. I can tell you that. DX is the man. And he's as fat as his owner. Or almost. I really need to lose weight also. So, this summer we'll do some jogging, you and me together. What do you think about that? I don't think he's going to want to do it. Hearing some aeronautical communications right now. Yes, we know the Earth is flat. I know that, you know, we've been served a great lie all these years. I used to know a girl you would like. Hey, baby. Yeah. I'm getting all sorts of calls on my phone and even some text messages from people saying, hey, are you coming at the karaoke to have some beer? It's Saturday night. Oh yes, I will. I bike about three to 4,000 kilometers a summer, so and I need a new bike this year, so I'm gonna check out what I'm gonna buy. Radio Marti 9565. Let's check it out if I hear WWV. Yep, WWV still on 15 megahertz. So, Oh, you bike too, Brett, Wayne? I love biking. I always go at the Perry Island, the expedition, with my backpack and my bike. It's just a lot of fun. Jerry says 8918 USB S9 Plus. There you got it, Scotty. It's not round, it's spherical. Maybe it has a flat radio. How about that? Music says really old-time music, 1920s on 7490. Wow. You know, that's the kind of music you want to listen to when you got a tube radio. You know, any old tube radios, and you get like this old, 30s or 40s, or the big band era music. It's like, wow, it just feels good. Just feels good. A flat radio DXer. So strong WWV on 15 megahertz right now. And what else do we have? Let me just check. So I'm going to start wrapping it up. But Carol, next the expedition Perry Island is going to be with his 50-inch flat screen. Yeah, I'm going to bring my 50-inch TV to the Perry Island so I can have a real big waterfall. I'm going to bring the ephedrine though, because I got a nice battery pack, that you usually use for my charging my cell phone, and it gives me about 5 hours of ephedrine. I tested it this week until the battery died. So that means that I can do a few hours of ephedrine videos at Perry Island. I think that's going to be really cool. So I just need some really good weather. I just need some good weather. Grandly says 13740, some musica. Let's check it out. Cuba on 13740. Yep. Slightly over-modulated, distorted, but it's there. 13740. Radio Zip says, funny enough, I'm listening to it only on my Zenith Transoceanic H500, but not 1920s old, but more like 1950s old. But still, you know, it feels like with the times. Can tell you that. Radio trouble on JetBlue 894, William says. So, okay, so we're going to wrap it up. We've been on for 3 hours, 20 minutes. My batteries are probably very close to saying bye-bye on the wireless mics. And I want to, first of all, thank everybody for being here. Really cool. Was really nice. If you guys want to see more radio shows, you know what? Remember, donations help me not only maintain what I have, they also help me even increase the output. More donations, more shows. That I promise. You know, I dedicate all of that for this. Thank you everybody for being here. Now the next show is Friday, because now we have every week. So the next show, Friday, this coming Friday, April 7th, we will be on live at 2000 hours UT, next to my 50-inch TV, because we will be talking about shortwave, but also tuning the ephedry receiver, the ephedry SDR. So once again, before we go, because somebody asked, PayPal donations through the Yahoo email that I'm putting in the chat. So here, also the patreon.com, which is a great place where you become basically my boss and give me whatever amount you want deducted every month, like Carol is doing and many others. You know, Jeffrey Kropp. There's like, you know, I've got 8 patrons, and you know, it's really cool to have everybody here. Sorry to annoy you guys with money, but you know, unfortunately, I gotta kind of pay the bills. So next Friday, 2000 hours UTC, and you know what? If I get enough donations, we'll have extra shows. Yeah. Remember that. GK Seffert says, for anyone who has not discovered it, SDR.HU. Yep, there's a lot of stuff with the Kiwi SDR. There are 118 Kiwi SDR receivers on the internet accessible. 4 users per receiver. I go there often. It is a great place to go from everywhere around the world. It's really nice. And from long wave up to 30 megahertz. Very handy to listen from. So thanks for sharing that. And thanks everybody. Thank you, Radio Zip, Scotty Tier 6, everybody. Thank you for being here. You have no idea how it's just so cool to do these shows. I have a lot of fun doing these shows. I've got to say that. And hope everybody also enjoyed the live shows. Thanks for your really kind and nice comments, everyone. It's really beautiful, really nice to have all such great people as you watching this show. And if you know, for some, if I can just make people listen even more to shortwave, and you know, try to have a lot of fun in you know, bringing everybody together. Like I always say, shortwave and radio listening is a solitary hobby. We're alone in our little shack. This is fun. It's like we're in a big room and there's full of people and we're having fun. And it's just really cool. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for being here. Without you guys, I'd be alone. It would be kind of sad. See you Friday, April 7th, 2000 hours UTC. And for the other shows, Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UT on the Windows channel. I answer tech questions at 6 p.m. Eastern, 2200 hours UTC, Windows Insider Hour on the Windows Insider channel. Thursdays on the Windows channels, I have with my nephew, Gabriel, I have a From the Couch show where we talk about the last week in gaming and tech news. And that's at 2000 hours UT, 4 p.m. Eastern. Retro Gaming Hour on my Old Computer Museum channel, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Thursdays, 23:30 UTC. Enjoy, everyone. Thank you once again. Thank you for the donations today. And remember, more donations, extra shows. My promise. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being here.